November to October was when I knew you. I know the dates. November 4th, I kicked you out of my house. What's your problem?
What you're doing?
What's your problem? And everyone can see how jealous and competitive you are.
Why am I jealous?
Focus on your focus. Go and continue creating crayons.
Chioma, I do not. If you try me, I will slap your.
Now, notice that I already had caught Caroline that she was not really sorry. But I had to now pretend. So I sat down there. They wanted me to have this conversation, right? Now, they all came. Guess what? I was supposed to start the conversation, but Mariam started the conversation. Right? Mariam was like, Iyabo, I'm so happy that you are forgiving Caroline and everything is okay, blah, blah, blah. I said, but because I noticed that Chioma was still, because of the that Igbo very well in that room. Do you understand? So I knew that Chioma was still not having it with Caroline. Do you understand? So for it to now, I twisted the conversation to myself. I said, Caroline, I have forgiven you. Everything is fine. But I don't like the fact that you and Chioma had that fallout. So I will appreciate it because I know Chioma has showed me her bruises. And I would have liked both of us to beat ourselves very well and end up in Dubai, apologize to her for what happened. That okay, Chioma, because of me, this happened to you. Oh yeah, well, so that everything can just end. Do you understand? So we don't have to bring the drama on the show. Caroline said, I don't owe her an apology and I'm not apologizing. I already spoke to her. I am not apologizing. I said, Omo, that's how Chioma went up. What do you mean? I know you were not sorry. I know you're not sorry. Yeah, so you see, I know you're not sorry was not for me. That's what the show is that way.
Okay.
When Chioma said, I know you're not sorry, it wasn't for me. It was for her.
Okay. Okay, makes sense. Okay.
Are you getting in that place where she got jumped because of me? I thought they didn't put that, but I was the one who told Caroline to say sorry to Chioma.
Okay.
You understand? So when she said, no, I'm not saying sorry to her, I spoke to her. Chioma said, okay, so what about the pain? What's going on, blah, blah, blah. And she said, but I said, she faced Mariam and said, Mariam, wasn't I sorry? Mariam said, no, you were not sorry. She faced Tiannah. Tiannah said, no, you were not sorry. Do you understand? So then she said, but I was sorry. I apologized to her. Iyabo. I even bought her gift with her. We were talking about Chioma.
Yeah.
The way I was looking, what are we saying? What are you saying? Do you get what happened here?
It makes sense now.
It makes sense because we're kind of wondering how come that she has apologized 3 times according to her. And
thank you. So if I didn't walk into them having that heated argument, do you understand? All that she said sorry, I would have believed it and I would have accepted it. Yeah. Because then immediately I left that beach house that day. The next day, as I woke up, I told my PA, go and return that gift to her.
Okay.
Because when I said, say sorry to your friend for getting bruised because of you, I was expecting her to say, oh, Chioma, we are sorry now.
Okay. Chioma said she wanted me to apologize, so I'm sorry, my love. You know I love you very much. You've always been there for me, and I've always been there for you. Hey guys, you are welcome to another FSWG YouTube live stream with me, my humble self, Glory Elijah. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm really excited that you all could make our time to join today's conversation. For those of you who are new here, my name is Glory Elijah. You are welcome. Yes, this is Frankly Speaking with Glory Elijah, and I am the girl with the T. I feel like I called my name probably 3 times, but you're all welcome. As I said before, thank you all so much for joining today's conversation. I really appreciate that for every weekend, regardless of your busy schedule, you all still make out time to join today's conversation. So for that, I am really grateful. Thank you all so much. Okay, so today we will continue our conversation on the Real Housewives of Lagos. Yes, the season one of the show has ended and everybody is looking forward to the reunion show. But the last episode of that season of the show left us speechless. It left us with a banger of a lot of events that happened without any accurate explanation of how any of those events came to be in that particular episode. And sadly, from what we heard, even the producers do not have the footage of how everything just went from 0 to 100 in that last episode. So at the moment, what has been circulating on the internet with regards to the show is an interview that Chioma and Iyabo granted. Not really an interview because, as far as I'm concerned, that felt like a takeover conversation by Iyabo, especially to give our own narrative of all that transpired on that fateful night between herself and Caroline, and of also our own explanation of what's been going on between herself and Tony and Laura, and of course, Chioma. I call it their own narrative because I was not there. Neither were you. All right. Any of us, in fact, I feel like everybody watching this live stream right now, except if we have the housewives present, none of us was there. We did not see what happened. So that narrative, that conversation that those two ladies had, that was their own narrative. But it's quite sad how gullible a lot of people are to shows like this, especially when you are not there when an event happens and then you just really buy everything hook, line, and sinker, possibly because you are standing any of the cast members, and it's quite unfortunate. So what we're going to be doing on this particular conversation today, guys, we're going to be looking at the loopholes in that conversation. I did a video some days back pointing out some of the loopholes. I did not point out all of it because that video was already up to 25 minutes already. I did not want that video to be lengthier than that. So on this video, we're going to continue that, okay? And one of those loopholes we're going to be looking at is stemming from the beginning of the video that we saw, Iyabo narrating the reason why that particular fight on that last episode had gone from 0 to 100, why Chioma had actually blown hot. There was a lot of lies in that narrative that Iyabo actually gave at that point in time, and I'm going to counter that on this conversation, okay? Iyabo kept on contradicting herself over and over and over and over again, and there were a lot of things that were left unsaid. And if you had watched that particular video, I had also put the blame on the interviewers, although they said that they are not interviewers, that they were just catching crews. However, I felt like that was actually kind of wrong because the show has now evolved from just being an entertainment show to a show that's now affecting the lives of the women involved. So I felt like if the interviewers were going to have a conversation with any of the ladies, they were supposed to come with facts and proper questions, to dig into the issues that have been raised on the show. I felt like there were a lot of questions that needed to be asked that they were not asked, and I've outlined some of those questions. I will be pointing them out. Now, in all of this, I know that there are a lot of you out there that have your own thoughts to share as well. I mean, I received DMs. I saw your comments on the last two videos I did. A lot of you kept on saying, Glory, we cannot wait to discuss this on Saturday. So today is that day. We're going to be having a full-blown conversation. So I want to remind all of us here that whatever I say on this conversation, it is from my observation, from that interview. It's from my observation. All right. And it's my opinion. I'm not telling you that it is all a fact. Whatever I'm going to be saying here, they are details that I got from the show itself, especially that episode 12, that last episode of the show, and also from the interview, from the things that these women said with their mouth. I was not there. Let me remind you all again. All right. I was not there. Neither were you. Okay. Neither were the producers as they claimed. So I'm going to be spilling all of this. So if you have anything contrary to anything I'm going to be saying right now, it's all well and good. It's great that everybody has their own perspective to things. It's great that everybody has their own opinion. So please feel free to click on the link when I share it to, share with us your own opinion. I would really appreciate that. But before we go into that particular conversation, let's talk a bit about the reunion show. So I did a video still this week talking about the host and the dates of the reunion show. And guys, I'm going to be frank with you. When I saw that it was going to be Uti Nwachukwu, guys, I wasn't really excited about it. And I stated that on that video that I did. And I thought I was the only one. A lot of you were also nursing the same kind of sentiments that they did not really trust Uti's judgment, because whilst the show was airing, Uti already had faves, Iyabo Ojo and Toyin. And guys, I wasn't really surprised when I saw a lot of comments to confirm that, because to be honest, I wasn't even following Uti whilst the show was airing, and I had no idea what Uti's interests were, all right, on the show. But then it made me think back to Big Brother Nigeria, where Uti had playing the role excessively of the villain, or should I say the devil's advocate, a lot. Some people that actually watched the season of Big Brother that Uti had won had said that for Uti to have won that show, he played the role of the bully. That all through that season, he bullied a lot of housemates. There was a particular housemate that he bullied to the point that the bully had to specially request for Big Brother to help him see a shrink, because Uti's bullies had ended up messing up with his mind. I don't know, guys. I did not really watch that season of the show. It was actually Big Brother Africa, not Big Brother Nigeria. Okay, so I did not watch that season of the show, so I cannot really confirm whatever that person actually stated. But that wasn't the only person that made that comment. There were several other comments like that. And so, guys, I was just thinking about all those things that, how is this guy going to perform? How is he going to handle the questioning segments, the interrogations, the probing of these women? Is he going to be biased or not? So, guys, to be very frank with you, I don't know. But then yesterday, we saw a snippet of the reunion show, and it wasn't really about Uti, but it was about the drama that is to come. That is to come with the reunion show, guys. And I must confess, it's going to be intense. It's going to be crazy. It is going to be wild. Yes. However, I was watching the Tiannah's sudden reaction. The way she jumped off her seat and she was like, "Oh, Chioma, I will slap you," blah, 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 blah. And guys, to be very frank with you all, at that point in time, I just felt like, okay, that was so fake. Yeah, that was so fake. I'm not saying that Twins reaction at that point was fake, but there was just something off about it. And it started making me question the entire season of the Real Housewives of Lagos. Remember, we said a lot of times that this show, there's just too many things that are too good to be true. There's a lot of editing that's been done. There's a lot of production in the works that, it tends to want to paint a certain narrative, and it tends to want to give you some certain kind of perceptions about each of the women. And at the end of the day, guys, I mean, look at what it's doing. Look at what it's doing to the likes of Laura. Look at what it's doing to the likes of Caroline. We all have one perception or the other about these women. So it's crazy. And I'm asking myself, this reunion show, are we going to see every single thing? Are we going to get all our questions answered? Are we going to get all of the loopholes filled up, covered on this reunion show? Yeah, I posed a question on that video that I did that so the producers, they released date on the 1st and 8th of July. And from what a lot of you said from other franchises of the show, the reunion show is going to be 2 hours each. And I'm wondering, is 4 hours going to be able to adequately cover all the loopholes that exist on the show? Because there's a lot that should be said. There's a lot that needs to be said. There's a lot of perceptions that needs to be erased. There's a lot of things that went amiss throughout the season that we did not get to see, that we're not even sure of. So are we going to see all of these things, or is it just going to be another half-baked edited work again? Targeting the traffic, targeting the drama, targeting the money-making business. What is it going to be from the reunion show? So I am keeping my mind open. I am keeping my fingers crossed, and just patiently waiting to see how the reunion show is going to be, right? That said, let's now get into the actual conversation. Whatever your opinions are about the reunion show, guys, don't worry. When I share the link to this conversation, just feel free to, click on it and let's talk. Okay, so it's what I'm going to be saying now. It's going to be me continuing from some of the things I listed out on the other video I did about the loopholes from that conversation. I mentioned a lot of things. I mentioned that the interviewers, they were partly to be blamed because they were not asking the right questions. And I appreciate the fact that they responded back in my comments saying that they were not interviewers, they were just catching crews, and sometimes Iyabo was not really allowing them to speak. Yes, I saw that. I saw that from the beginning of the conversation when they were calling Iyabo Auntie Iyabo. Because they just did not know how to address her. Should we address this woman as Auntie or just plain Iyabo? And they were about to ask Iyabo a question, and Iyabo was very, very quick to jump on their question, take the floor, and without any proper conversational cues, she jumped on it, and then she started giving the background story as to how and why people started calling her Auntie Iyabo. Now, in Iyabo's defense, that was the right thing to do, right? It was right for her to give that backstory so that people will understand how she started being called Auntie Iyabo. However, I felt like, okay, this is the actions of someone that is very, extremely defensive. If you are not defensive, you would allow the interviewer to, at their own pace, ask you questions that will lead you to tell your story. So Iyabo jumping quickly and taking the words off the mouth of the interviewers, for me, I saw that as having extremely defensive. And I wasn't wrong, because for the over 1 hour that she spoke, the only thing I could hear was Iyabo was innocent and every other person, specifically Caroline, was the one at fault. And the funny thing is, when people talk too much, they end up shooting themselves multiple stray bullets in the legs, in the head, in the eyes, in the mouth, every part of their bodies, without even realizing it. Iyabo did a lot of that in that conversation. And once again, as I said on my previous video, I'm going to say that, listen, Iyabo's feelings are valid. Chioma's feelings are valid. However, in a bid to defend themselves, they ended up exposing the many loopholes that was in their story, that was in their narrative. Yes. And so a lot of things were not really adding up, which I'm going to point out. And the second thing again, I'm still talking about the host, guys. I've not even gone to Iyabo yet. Now, the second thing, still on the host, them saying, I think on 2 or 3 or even more occasions, them saying that Iyabo's closeness to Chioma during the entire season of the show was really obvious, that they saw it a lot. Guys, that got me gagging. That got me confused. And I was wondering, like, how many episodes again did we see clearly that Iyabo and Chioma, they were this close? How many episodes? The only episode that we really saw, Iyabo and Chioma's closeness was, I think, in episode 2, when Chioma and Iyabo, they had gone jogging, and Iyabo was reporting what Laura had said to her about slapping Caroline, right? And Chioma, in Caroline's defense, had said, oh, why would she say such a thing? If she said that, I am going to slap her if she slaps Caroline. That was the only time. And that's very frank with you. If you all recall, a lot of us were confused. When did Chioma and Caroline become very good friends? Now, our own confusion was based on the fact that, hey, we are watching a show. And as far as we are concerned, from what we have seen on the show, these two women, they are not the best of friends. They are not. Okay? As far as we're concerned, at the time we were watching episode 2 of the Real Housewives of Lagos, there were signs of Chioma and Caroline being friends. But there was no major hint that Chioma and Iyabo were actually best friends. The next episode that we saw some kind of closeness between Chioma and Caroline was fast forward to episode, I can't remember if it is 10 or 9, when Iyabo's daughter was having her birthday. So it wasn't really like there was a major kind of closeness. Not really. It was more like, oh, I'm having my birthday, and by virtue of the fact that we're all on the set of this particular show, I'm inviting the women. Chioma came through with gifts, and Iyabo went to specially welcome Chioma from the entrance. And according to how Chioma described it, like a princess. She led me to my seat. I loved it. That was what we saw. That was what we saw. So we did not see that kind of bestie kind of closeness. We did not. And then the next time we saw some level of closeness, which got us really confused between Chioma and Iyabo still, was from the beginning of that last episode on the yacht, when Chioma and Iyabo, they were having conversations about relationships, guys. Without us hearing this interview or conversation that they had later in the week, guys, we're kind of surprised that, okay, when did these two people get really close that they are now talking about relationships? You know, why is Chioma not having this conversation with Caroline first? Because on the show, we've kind of identified both of them to be the besties of the show. And just the previous night, they had bought this necklace in Dubai as a symbol of their friendship. So we're wondering, and then much later on that particular episode, when they had the fight, and then we started hearing and seeing Chioma being very, very close to Iyabo, and we're wondering, like, okay, when did Chioma switch loyalties? Although, if you had listened to that podcast, they had actually explained a lot of these things. But I'm talking about, from the perspective of a layman that's just watching the show. So I'm painting all of these scenarios because of what the two hosts had said, that they had seen Chioma and Iyabo's closeness. It was very obvious. I'm trying to say that that's a big lie. It was not obvious at all. They were probably very good friends behind the scenes, but on camera, we did not see that. It's probably the fault of the producers trying to edit the show according to how they want people to view the show. But as far as I am concerned, as a viewer, in fact, to anybody that is even blind, there was no obvious closeness between Iyabo and Chioma. Okay? So I felt like in that regard, the interviewers, I don't know what their motive was, but that was not just it at all. Another thing again about the interviewers, all through the 3 hours conversation, or should I call it interview, whatever it was, they kept on saying, oh, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense now. Guys, to be very frank with you, at that point in time, I felt like I was going to explode, because I felt like, no, not everything makes sense. As far as that fight between Iyabo and Caroline, inclusive of Chioma at some point, is concerned, nothing still makes sense, because nobody saw what happened. We only heard via that interview Iyabo and Chioma's narrative, which was at some point kind of inconsistent, even though they were trying to corroborate each other's stories. We have not heard from Caroline, so we don't know for real what transpired that night. Also, we cannot take into consideration Toyin's account, because why? Toyin and Caroline, they have a 12-year-old and still counting beef that has still not yet been resolved. So I, for one, I cannot take whatever Toyin says about Caroline as fact, and vice versa. I cannot take whatever Caroline says about Toyin as well as fact, because as far as I'm concerned, those two women, they have a beef that is yet to be settled. So as far as I'm concerned, whether they are both mature or not, when it comes to situations like that we saw on episode 12, their accounts, their narratives will not be balanced. Toyin, on several occasions, has expressed a dislike and irritation with Caroline, with and at Caroline. So from such a person, I will not say that, okay, whatever she says happened that night was actually right. The only way I'm going to say, oh, this is what happened, is if at all there was visual evidence for us, the viewers, to see for ourselves and then deduce our own facts the way we want. So if we had actually seen whatever had happened, if they are now come and give their interviews, we'll now say, oh, okay, maybe this is why this happened. But we didn't see nada. So for me, that conversation, it is not fact. It is not the fact. So I'm saying this because Whilst Chioma and what's her name, Iyabo, they were just telling and telling and telling for the entire 3 hours of that conversation. The interviewers kept on saying, "Oh, everything adds up now. It makes sense now. I see what you mean." I'm sorry, nothing. Maybe not everything. Okay, let's say not everything made sense. Not everything was adding up. Now, another thing again, still on the part of the interviewers. What else? Of course, I mentioned earlier that Iyabo took over the conversation for over an hour. Iyabo was talking. And to be very fair, there were times that the interviewers wanted to chip in their questions, but Iyabo would still continue rambling on. She would continue talking, and she was doing a great job at seriously trying to paint herself as the victim, as the saint. However, there were space fillers. There were spaces in Iyabo's narrations where she had actually told some, I don't want to call it lies, she had actually told some inconsistent narratives. And I was expecting and hoping that at that point in time, the interviewers were going to cut her short and then say, "Oh, but this thing you said on the show, on the last episode, we saw it unfold in this manner." Because there were things that Iyabo actually mentioned that happened. Guys, not everything was not recorded. Let's be very realistic. Not everything was not recorded. Okay, there were some things that we saw, especially when they were at the poolside area where Chioma and Caroline's fight happened. We saw a lot of things happen. Although Iyabo was claiming that there were some things that were not recorded, that were not shown. Okay, fine. Some things were not shown. However, she was giving the impression that, oh, Caroline refused to apologize to Chioma. Caroline specifically said that I owe Chioma no apology. However, if you watch this particular clip, which I played before, but I'm just going to go ahead and play it again, Caroline actually started the conversation with Chioma by apologizing. Let me just quickly play this.
I'm happy. Okay, Chioma said she wanted me to apologize, so I'm sorry, my love. You know I love you very much. You've always been there for me, and I've always been there for you. Yeah, just
Okay, so guys, we saw clearly right there that Caroline did apologize to Chioma, and that was before the whole thing escalated. So in the interview, Iyabo was saying that she twisted a question to Caroline. I played at the start of this video, it's quite lengthy, I don't want to play it again. That she posed a question at Caroline, she twisted the question. Oh, she was actually referring to Caroline apologizing to Chioma, and Caroline said she did not owe Chioma an apology. And I'm like, no, that's a lie. There's no consistency in that narrative because we watched that episode. So you cannot just gaslight us, the viewers, like that. You cannot make it look like we're dumb, we're senseless, we are watching the show and we are not seeing. We're actually seeing, even though we don't really understand the complete backstory. You know, so at that point in time, I was expecting and hoping that the interviewers were going to cut Iyabo short midway her sentence and then, you know, present that particular scenario to her and tell her, but Caroline did apologize. But they did not. And so it kind of fueled whatever narrative that Iyabo was spreading. You know, okay, so it doesn't look like Glory is out to chop off the head of the interviewers. I'm not out to do so. I just felt like there were so many inconsistencies in that interview conversation, and it's not right. It's not right. I'm not saying that everybody, the entire world, should be on Caroline's side. No, I'm saying that we should call a spade a spade. The fact that these women are coming out to tell their stories does not mean that we do not have a right, at least, to ask the necessary questions. I just felt like they were let off the hook easily, okay, and they were not really, you know, probing deeper as they should, you know, and somehow it made it look like they already had their mind set on the fact that Caroline is the villain, and all what they just needed was for Chioma and Iyabo to just come ahead and just agree or maybe confirm their suspicions that Caroline actually did all of that. So for me, I just felt like, nah, that wasn't the best way to have presented that. Okay, now moving on to on Chioma, that's from Iyabo's perspective now. Iyabo, of course, from the start of the conversation, she explained a lot of things about her anger issues, how she's working on herself, how she worked really hard to train a lot of people under her care, talking about, oh, this is who she is. If you don't look for her trouble, she's not going to do all of that. I mean, all fair and good. I mean, I really like it when people are very upfront about their personality, about who they really are, you know. However, on that conversation, one thing I saw about Iyabo, aside her being extremely defensive, I saw one other person that was basically glorifying her anger issues. I saw one person that was basically glorifying, you know, a tendency to be violent and aggressive. And from the way she was speaking as though this is who I am. Everybody has their own demons they are dealing with. She specifically used those words. You know, this is who I am. Everybody has their own demons they are dealing with. So if you come to me, I'll come at you. You know, that kind of thing, that kind of thing, that kind of thing. And I was wondering, like, but is that really healthy though? Is that really healthy? I mean, here you are, you know, priding yourself in who you are, in the demons you're struggling with, as you put it, and you feel like you have the monopoly to have demons you're dealing with. But then, from all that you painted that happened that night, Caroline was lashing at you, Caroline was raising her voice at you. Don't you think Caroline possibly also has her own demons that she's dealing with? Don't you think Caroline possibly also has, you know, issues that she's struggling with that made her to, you know, to lash out at you like that? Don't you think so? What do you mean? You're not the only person that actually has monopoly of anger, monopoly of expressing aggression, you know? But that's that. And then she went ahead to talk about how she met Chioma. She fell in love with Chioma. According to her, it was love at first sight, you know, between herself and Chioma. And I'm like, okay, how convenient. You know, it's time for everybody to defend themselves now. And now we're hearing a love story between these two women. Very convenient. Now, about Laura. She went ahead to talk about Laura. She said that actually on the set of the show, that was not the first time that she had started disliking Laura's negative energy. That apparently, before they met on the set of the show, she had actually met Laura at Toyin's event before. So Toyin was celebrating something. I can't remember whatever that was. And coupled with some of Toyin's friends, they were planning a surprise thingy, you know, and Laura had attended. So they were trying to get Laura to join them into pulling off that surprise. But then Laura was saying, oh, no, thank you, I don't want to join. So already the backstory to that is that she has been discriminated against for being a Yoruba actor. And people's thinking that, oh, because she stars in Yoruba movies a lot, she does not know how to speak English, you know. So she was wondering if that is what Laura was, you know, looking at by not wanting to associate with her at Twins' house or Twins' event. So she had got that had really gotten to her because Laura was just vehement about not wanting to mix up with them. So she had complained to Tony, and Tony had said, oh, Laura is actually a nice person. Laura was probably shy. And then they had met at episode 1 of the show on the set of that's at Brass and Coppers. That's when Toyin was celebrating her daughter's product launch. And once again, Laura had given her the same kind of negative energy, not wanting to associate with her. And that had really pissed her off, right? That had really pissed her off. Now, guys, let me just say this quickly. So, from the way Iyabo said that, she made it look like she was the only person that Laura was giving attitude, right? And for me, that was a great assumption on Iyabo's part because we all watched episode 1 and Laura had clearly complained about what her issue was. Oh, she was upset at Toyin because Toyin had invited Caroline because Toyin had actually spilled a lot of negative and trashy things about Caroline, that she would never be Caroline again. She would be friends with Caroline again. She would never hang out with Caroline again. So she was quite disappointed and felt betrayed. But then Laura did not have the balls to confront Toyin about it. So Laura had her own issues. So it wasn't like Laura singled out only Iyabo to throw that negative energy to. No, Laura literally spread that negative energy, even to Chioma as well. Why? Because Chioma termed her as a client and not as a friend. So that was another thing anyways. But according to what she said, she and Laura, they actually had a conversation on this Dubai trip, and Laura apologized to her. Laura kept on begging. And she asked herself, oh, if I don't answer this girl, it will look as if I'm a witch. So let me accept. Now, prior to Laura begging and apologizing, according to Iyabo, they had actually had an agreement to ignore what's her name, to ignore Laura, because they've noticed that Laura likes attention. Laura wants to be the center of attention and all of that, always bringing bad vibes, switching moods here and there. So they had decided that we were going to avoid her, and the producers, had said, okay, let them see how it goes. The producers were also in on that agreement. And guys, it was making me wonder, when did such an agreement happen? Because from what we saw, it was actually Chioma and Iyabo that had that conversation on episode 10, when they were what's that thing, when they were watching the belly dancers perform, and Toyin's masked husband had actually surprised Toyin, and Toyin was trucking for her husband, and then Iyabo and Chioma, they were having that conversation. So it was actually Iyabo and Chioma that agreed that they were going to ignore Laura. And prior to that time, guys, Chioma and Caroline, they had conversations that they were going to ignore Laura. Why? Because Laura was constantly poking at both of them. So when Iyabo was explaining that, they had actually had that agreement, I was wondering, like, okay, when did all of these things happen? According to her, it happened off camera, and they had jokingly said it, so it wasn't like they had said it maliciously. I'm like, okay, once again, here is another loophole in that conversation. But we're just going to let that one pass. Okay, now, moving on to Caroline. Now, according to Iyabo, she said she started supporting Caroline because she had seen Chioma's love for Caroline. So because of that, she started supporting Caroline. And that brought about the question, 3 questions actually, of what is the meaning of support? What is the meaning of loyalty? What is the meaning of having someone's back? Because guys, if you had listened to the entire 3 hours conversation, right? This entire 3 hours conversation of that interview, guys, you will get you get put off at some point, because the way these women were throwing those words, those statements left, right, and center, it just did not make sense to me, and it made me wonder, where did morality go? What is the meaning of support? Now, the way Iyabo used support, she used support like, Caroline probably does not deserve it, but she was giving her support anyways. And talking about loyalty, I'm wondering, how does that even work? How does that even stand? And then even defining Chioma's loyalty for her, that when Caroline has issues with a lot of people, Chioma is always standing in as a mediator, always begging on Caroline's behalf. And then talking about having Caroline's back. When Caroline was having issues with Laura, she was having Caroline's back. This time around, because of this issue they have, they've now switched the table, that Caroline is the one having issues with everybody. Whereas we saw on the show how different issues came about with Caroline. With Laura obviously was offended by whatever Toyin had did to betray her by also inviting Caroline to her baby's product launch. Probably there's the Linda Ikeji parts in there, but obviously Caroline did not bring that into play. It was Laura that first threatened to slap Caroline when she sees Caroline, or when Caroline does whatever. And at Caroline's boohoo party in episode 3, I can't remember who brought up that conversation, if it was Chioma or even Caroline, right? So the question was for Laura to state whatever Caroline had done to her, for her to say what she said. And then what we had heard was, if it's my sister, don't even talk about my sister. We saw that part. And even though they claimed that a lot of things happened, during Laura's confessionals, she was basing her own defense on her sister, Linda Ikeji. So we all saw that part, that was where Laura's beef with Caroline was stemming from. Defending her sister, Linda Ikeji, and also the fact that she was still upset that Toyin still regarded Caroline as a friend. All through this particular season 1 of the show, during Laura's confessionals, Laura had never for one day said that, okay, this is exactly what Caroline did to me directly that is making me beef this woman. There's absolutely nothing. Laura has no direct issues whatsoever with Caroline. She just dislikes Caroline. And then with Mariam, Chioma said, what we saw on the show, there was more than that. Caroline complained about a lot of things about Mariam. And I was thinking, or even hoping, that she was going to go ahead and spill the actual things, but there was nothing. But what we actually saw on the show was that right from the very first day that Mariam had actually visited or even joined, not even visited, but joined, right? What was her complaint? That, oh, Caroline shook her hand like this. Whereas we all saw a replay of that particular scene. Caroline actually gave Mariam a full handshake. And afterwards, both of them did not have issues anymore. Although, yes, Caroline had complained that Mariam kept on insulting people, shit, fuck you, F you, bitches, this and that. And it wasn't Caroline that was the only person that complained. Other ladies also complained about it. That's that. With Toyin, I have said this before. Caroline and Toyin, they have had a 12-year-old long and still moving beef. Beef will never end. They've not properly settled. And Toyin attested to the fact that she chose to bring the beef into the show. Yeah, she said it. I reviewed it. I talked about it on my channel. She said it, that she chose to bring the beef to the show. That any of the cast members can choose whatever kind of conversation they want to bring into the show. So she said she brought that conversation in there. So it wasn't like it was actually Caroline that was actually bringing it. Oh, yes, they said Caroline was gossiping about the beef to her friends. Well, is there really anything wrong about it? Because as far as I'm concerned, and as far as from all I have been hearing, just as Caroline had been allegedly gossiping about that particular beef with her friends, Toyin had been doing the same thing. Toyin had told Laura, and this is the same Toyin that claimed that she's closer to Mariam than Laura. She's not really close to Mariam. So how come you're telling that beef to someone you're not really close to? She had told Laura, she had told, what's her name, Mariam, she had told Iyabo, and even many of her other friends that we don't even know about from the show. But no, everybody's fingers is pointed towards Caroline. Caroline is the gossip. Caroline is the instigator. Caroline is this and that. And aside that, there was a way that Iyabo and Chioma kept on talking about. Caroline told me they made it look like they just sat on their own. And Caroline was the one that came to them to come and say, oh, Toyin is an evil person. Let me tell you what Toyin did. Toyin is this and that. They did not make it look like, oh, they were having a girls' conversation. And conversation brought conversation. In Pidgin, there's something they call na talk, and they bring talk. There's a way you have conversations with people, and then before you know it, you start talking about other people if you don't have self-control with your tongue. But the way Iyabo and Chioma made it look, they made it look like they were sitting on their own, and Caroline came to come and tell them things about Toyin, things about other people. So from that interview, they completely labeled Caroline to be the gossip and the instigator. In continuation, about Caroline's bracelet. From all of Iyabo's narrations, she made it look like she wasn't insensitive to Caroline. Her excuse was that they had already had a girls' conversation. All right? Yeah, that they were having a girls' conversation and it was just a joke. So I was wondering at that point in time that, okay, Iyabo, you come across as a very, very, in fact, an extremely sensitive person. So you that is very, very sensitive, you felt like it was okay for you to make such an insensitive comment to Caroline after her losing her $43,000 worth of diamond bracelet. But then you are coming to come and defend yourself that, oh, you did not know that the camera was rolling when you said what you said. And then she was trying to twist how she said it. But guys, it was quite ridiculous because we watched that episode and we saw that obviously Caroline was looking really down. She was looking really sad and she was explaining it. And Iyabo just turned. And guys, I'm sorry to say that did not look like a joke to me. She turned and she said what she said. Was it your ex-boyfriend or is it your new boyfriend that gave it to you? Seriously. At the point that someone is actually sad about losing something. And the way the ladies were saying, it is just a bracelet. I'm sorry, you. But even though we are made to believe that all those women are accomplished and they are wealthy in their own rights, they are empowered, they are entrepreneurs of 1 million and one businesses here and there. Please, I don't want to believe that $43,000 is chicken feed to these women. At least it should be enough for them to buy one designer bag. Yeah. So it's not small money. It's a lot of money. And if that money is invested to one of their businesses, I'm sure it will thrive. So then labeling the bracelet as just her bracelet. Guys, I'm wondering, like, seriously? That's when I get money rich, for real. Anyways, the focus is on that bracelet. I felt like she was being insensitive, but once again, being overly defensive, she was refusing to take responsibility for her insensitive remark. And also saying that, oh, she was surprised that when she saw Caroline's confessionals, Caroline was offended about it. And I'm like, but I don't understand. You people yourself said that confessionals is that opportunity for you to express yourself about how you feel about something. So Caroline felt bad about it. She did not want to make a fuss about it. And obviously she respected. So she did not really complain about it, right? But it was a confessionals. And obviously they asked her how did she feel? And she mentioned that, oh, she felt it was disrespectful. What was wrong in what she said? Because it was actually disrespectful. Anyways, moving on. About the fight, guys, if you've listened to that conversation, she explained the fight. Now, for all what she explained, the way she described it, the way she narrated it, it seemed as though Iyabo was just quietly standing and Caroline was hurling insults at her. And Caroline was shouting at her. Caroline was raising her voice at her. There was a point where Iyabo said during that interview, I asked you, are you okay? And she said, yes, are you okay? And then she said, there's something wrong with you. And Caroline shouted, there's something wrong with you. Guys, the way Iyabo narrated that particular scene, it was quite hilarious. Because I'm wondering, like, okay, this Iyabo that is here, that is saying that she's trying to work on herself, that is saying that she knows that she has anger issues. So this Iyabo by herself will stand like this and tell Caroline, are you okay? And Caroline will scream, are you okay? Is something wrong with you? Is something wrong? Like, guys, doesn't really make sense. Doesn't really make sense. Hey, God. Anyways, in continuation, the way she narrated that entire episode, guys, I just felt like, and I wasn't there, so I cannot really say for sure what exactly transpired, and I'm not going to take anyone's side, but then I found it quite unbelievable that with the kind of personality that Iyabo has, she will stand there without saying or doing anything at all to Caroline, and Caroline will be the one attacking like a headless chicken. It completely did not make sense to me. But I'm not going to say that, oh, Iyabo is lying or Caroline is right because I was not there. So for that one, I know nothing about it. So I'm not even going to comment on that one. But I think it's something we should think about as well. Does it really make sense or not? And then, let's move on to Chioma's part. Chioma begging Caroline over and over. Both of the ladies established, they corroborated each other's stories that according to all what happened off cameras, Chioma continuously went to Caroline, was telling Caroline to go and apologize to Iyabo, to go and apologize. And at some point, Caroline was shouting, leave me alone, I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to apologize. Toyin was telling her to go and apologize. Everybody was telling her to go and apologize. And Iyabo was busy describing how hurt she was, how offended she was, blah, blah, blah. Now, still standing on my own stance that I was not there, I'm going to say this. Once again, Iyabo has a right to feel how she felt, but at the same time, I think if we're being very frank with ourselves, Chioma also has a right to feel the way she felt. Likewise, Caroline. Caroline also has a right to feel the way she felt. Right? I cannot say that, okay, possibly everything they said Caroline did is what she did because once again, I was not there. But guys, look at it this way. Two lions are roaring at each other. Remember, Iyabo did not just stand towards the end. At some point, Iyabo was charging at Caroline from what she said. She wanted to attack Caroline and beat her up. Chioma threw herself in Caroline's defense and she flung Chioma on the vanity mirror. And then Chioma came again. She flung Chioma again, which I'm coming to. Now, let me ask you guys a very simple question. When two angry people are going at each other, they are warring at each other, they are charging at each other, they want to tear each other apart, they want to kill each other. In the midst of that heightened tension, in the midst of that heightened provocative atmosphere, Do you think it's actually wise or even smart or even emotionally intelligent to now start telling one person to go and apologize to the other person? Do you think it's smart? Whether you're a lawyer, whether you're the president of a country, whether you're the smartest person in the whole world, do you think it's actually smart? Right? Do you think it's actually smart? For me, I just felt like that was very, very unsmart. Very, very unsmart and inconsiderate. Because such a thing, I said something on my video, and I'm going to say it again. I said Chioma did the right thing, but she did it at the wrong time. What was the right thing she did? She was protecting her friend. I cannot fault her for that. She was standing in for her friend. I wasn't there. I did not see how that unfolded. But whatever she was doing to protect Caroline, she was doing what a friend should do, and she was doing the right thing. But now forcing Caroline, immediately the fight was still going on, the tension was still heightened, forcing Caroline, even scolding her, however way she was telling Caroline to go and apologize, that was wrong. If my friend was that angry, I would take my friend aside. I would be upset at my friend that, yes, so because of you, I sustained bruises or whatever happened. I was thrown away. But I will not be only angry at my friend. I will also be angry at the person that threw me against the wall. I will also be angry at the person that was charging at my friend. And then if there's any need for me to advise my friend to go and apologize, it's not going to be exactly at that point in time. I need to make sure that everybody is fine. My friend is calm. I am calm. And then I'm going to tell my friend that, oh, by the way, look at what happens to me. Everybody has to be calm. You see, there's no way you're going to get sensible results when tension is still in the air. There's no way. And that's my point. There's no way. You know, so whilst Chioma was talking, Chioma saying that, oh, she was telling Caroline to go and apologize. Chioma was doing the right thing to tell Caroline to go and apologize, right? But was that the right time? Absolutely not. Especially when, oh, as both women agreed, Caroline apologized before. Iyabo said she woke up the next morning, she saw a text message from Caroline apologizing, and then Caroline still came again to her room later to come and kneel down. Guys, a lot of things were said. Now, moving on, fast forwarding to the Chioma and Caroline's apartment. According to Iyabo, she had actually gone to Chioma and Caroline's apartment. I think they said Mariam was there, and the door was open. She said the door was open, which is quite dicey to me. Because I'm wondering that, okay, this is Dubai. The women don't really, I don't understand. It's quite strange. You go to their house and the door is open. Who opened the door? Anyways, let's leave it at that. But then that particular narrative was quite dicey to me. They said that the door was open and she went inside. I don't know why my video is looking. Okay. Said she went inside the house and then she heard Chioma and Caroline shouting at each other. Now, Chioma and Caroline, she said they were shouting at each other, and what she heard was Caroline shouting, I will not apologize to her. You cannot tell me what to do. Yeah, you my mother. Blah, blah, blah. Caroline was shouting, but according to Iyabo, Chioma was like, but you have to go apologize to her. Guys, if you had heard that interview, you will hear how when Iyabo wants to describe Chioma's actions on that particular night, she uses a very, very soft tone. And she makes it look like Chioma is actually pleading, like Chioma is blameless. But when she wants to describe Caroline's actions, she uses a very, very aggressive tone and makes it look like Caroline was intentionally being aggressive and violent verbally. And guys, I just feel like, no, there's a lot of things wrong with this narrative. There's a lot of things wrong, you know? And then, yeah, Dupe, I'm just in Dupe's comment now, but this same Iyabo said the apology was for Chioma and not for her, who is telling lies. Guys, exactly. It still did not really make sense, did not add up. And then, guys, here is the point I want to bring out from talking about this particular scenario that Iyabo and Chioma painted in that interview. Iyabo said she entered the house, the door was open, they did not know she was around, and then she tiptoed up the stairs to go and hear what they were saying. So when she tiptoed, it was the part that Caroline was shouting that she heard, and Chioma telling Caroline, but you have to go and apologize. You don't know how she felt, blah, blah, blah. The first question that came to my mind is, did Iyabo hear the beginning of that argument? She did not. Did she know the tone that Chioma had, initially used to tell Caroline again to go and apologize. She did not. At the point she met both of them having that argument, it was midway the conversation. Guys, what does that remind you of? It reminds you of the saying that eavesdroppers never hear anything good about themselves. Everybody knows that when you're eavesdropping on people's conversation, if you did not start eavesdropping from the start of that conversation, or if you have no idea about the backstory of that conversation, if you hear your name, automatically you will think that they're actually saying something negative about you. And I'm like, Iyabo, you're very mature. Didn't you think about it? That, okay, possibly, guys, you know what? There's not even any need for me to even say that. Because obviously, Iyabo knew that at some point Chioma was probably raising her voice. But then it's all about protecting Chioma, protecting herself, and then putting Caroline on the slaughter. But once again, I was not there. I don't know what happened. I don't know what was said. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But then you see that part, there's everything wrong with that. There's everything wrong with Iyabo's narrative on that part. You eavesdropped on the conversation that you did not hear the start of. And then automatically you believed that, Caroline's apologies to you all along, Caroline kneeling down, that was a lie. According to Iyabo, when she was running down the stairs, Chioma and Caroline, they saw her, and Caroline was running, oh, Auntie Iyabo, I wanted to talk to you. That was where she said that Iyabo and Caroline kneeling down and apologizing to her was fake. I said, okay, let's just leave it at that. Okay. Now, when Chioma was talking on the interview, guys, I'm going to stop very soon because me, I don't have this conversation. I would like to hear everybody's thought about it. Chioma, again, the same thing Iyabo said that Caroline was the one having issues with everybody. Chioma now painted herself as the no problem person. She said that on the show, she never had any issues with anybody. The only time she had issues was with Laura. She only had issues with Laura once. And that was that. I can't even remember right now anymore. But guys, I'll tell you that that's a bloody lie. Yeah. Chioma had issues with Laura. If not, during her confessionals on different episodes, she will not be talking about how irritated and how rude Laura is. She had said that a lot of times during her confessionals, talking about, Laura lacks social skills, Laura is like a child, Laura is seeking attention. And what she said on this interview was that she was doing that because she was supporting Caroline. I'm like, no, Chioma, no. Laura had her own personal issues with you directly, and you knew it. And you also had issues with Laura, and that was why you stated that you were going to ignore Laura. You did not have issues with Laura because you were supporting Caroline. No. And guys, that brings me back to the question I asked before, that what is the true definition of support? What's the true definition of having people's back? On this show, I realized that from Chioma and Iyabo's so-called interview, they probably do not understand the concept of those words. Because if you are telling me that you're supporting Caroline against Laura, then it means you don't really understand the real definition of those words. It was very obvious that Laura was coming at Caroline and Chioma at every point in time. So Chioma saying that she was supporting Caroline, guys, I'm like, what are you supporting? No, somebody is attacking you, so you're standing and defending yourself, and that's that. And Caroline, most of the time, was going all out on that. And then Iyabo was saying that, I was having Caroline's back. I said, no, you're not having Caroline's back. You yourself, you're an adult. You recognized that Laura was being excessive. And so you were standing for what was right. You were not necessarily having Caroline's back or even Chioma's back. No. You were standing for what was right. And that was why you yourself, just as you admitted on the interview, you stated that you were avoiding Laura. And you called that meeting after the Caroline and Laura's fight, to address Laura's situation. So what do you people mean about, I was having Caroline's back? No, you were simply standing for what was right. You were not having Caroline's back. Guys, the matter tire me. And then there was another thing. I forgot to add this. Sorry guys, I need to really add this. Yeah. What is the truth? Okay, I think I added that one. Yeah. Okay, yes. Okay, I think basically I've asked all my questions. See, let me not talk anymore. This is the part where I'm going to share the link to this conversation. Okay, so just join and let me know. Although, let me just chip in this one. Towards the end of the conversation, there was a question that, not really a question, but there was something that the host actually said to Chioma that, oh, Chioma, Caroline actually accused you of being the reason why she was having issues with all the women on one of her interviews. She had an interview and then she said that it was because you were late or something. To be very honest, I felt like the hosts, they did not really ask that question properly. And the way they asked that question, or the way they said that thing they said, it was very leading. It was very leading. Guys, I listened to that Caroline's interview. I've actually shared the link. So if you want to join us and speak, please just click on that link and join. Okay. So I listened to that Caroline's interview. She had that interview on Clubhouse. And when she was narrating what really happened, why she had actually attended Mariam's dinner late, she had mentioned that it was because of the producers. It was because of the producers. She had mentioned that it was because of the producers that they had told her that she had to go and pick up Chioma. She had mentioned that her driver's father died. She had a situation. So she had made a video call. She had made a video as well, sent a text message as well to the producers and told them to please help her to apologize to Mariam on her behalf. She had narrated that entire ordeal. And then she said when she had gotten to Chalmers' house, she wanted to go to the venue because Mariam's house was like 2 hours away because of traffic and all. But then the producer has said that if they were going to use their car to go and drop her at Mariam's house, it was going to take another extra 2 hours to go and pick Chioma. I think they are all living in Kui. So they wanted her to go and pick Chioma so that both of them would come together. Now, according to Caroline, on that interview, she did not say it maliciously. I'm going to drop that link in the description of this live stream later. So she had gone to Chioma's house, and according to her, Chioma had a wardrobe malfunction. She had issues with the outfit she wanted to wear. So that had also kind of delayed them a bit. She did not say that it is because of Chioma that she was having issues with all the ladies on that interview. No, she did not state that. What she stated was that this was what happened. The producers wanted her to go and pick Chioma. It had now increased in her as well, getting delayed. So the way the interviewers put that statement, guys, honestly, it was sad. But let me just leave it at that. We have people on here, amazing people. You are all welcome to join this conversation. Hi, Amara. Hi, Mr. A. And hi, Faith. You're all welcome to today's conversation. I know that a lot of you have a whole lot to say. So I'm going to quickly start with Mr. A. Hello, Mr. A. Hello.
Hey, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you are welcome to today's conversation.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what I would like to just say is, I mean, I feel like the whole narrative of that whole interview, I think it's kind of like a sort of let me recorrect myself after the reunion which has been shown. Something's actually gone wrong during that reunion, and I think Iyabo and Chioma kind of had that interview just to clear the air. Yeah, there were so many things which kind of were said by Iyabo, and as you actually rightly said, she was detecting the whole sort of, the whole narrative. She was leading the whole, she was going on about it, and I feel like there was a bit where Iyabo actually said that the producers, she was supposed to start a conversation about, why, Caroline, why, why did you actually, something about why did you actually, why were you actually acting like that? But instead, Mariam actually started the conversation, and because Mariam started, then she, led on, and then there was a twist in her story where she actually asked Caroline to actually apologize to to Chioma. But in that bit where she actually mentioned that she was supposed to lead that conversation, let's remember this is actually a reality TV show. Yeah. If Mariam actually started or led that conversation, she could have told the producers right there and then, cut. Yeah. I'm the ones that are supposed to start this conversation, and then they'll restart, the queue. So her actually saying, "Oh, Mariam started the conversation," and then "Oh, she just had to play along," I just felt like that was kind of off in my sense. Anyway, you know, that was like I don't know, to me it was like a blatant lie. You know, also, when she was having she was narrating the story about being on the bus and talking to Laura, and then actually saying telling Laura that, oh, I want to try actually understand you, why is all these situations actually happening, and she said she was good, she actually had the conversation. I don't know whether anybody actually heard, but during that bit she mentioned that, okay, don't worry, when I get back to the hotel I'll have a chat with the girls
I heard
that
that.
I spoke to you about this. Yep. So she's now made reference that, okay, when she does go back to the hotel, she's going to speak to Chioma, Caroline, and just say, okay, probably apologies for actually ignoring her, but at the same time, this is the reason why I was actually talking to Laura. But according to Iyabo, all that happened was she just went upstairs, said, "Oh, good night, girls. Good night. Bye, bitches, or whatever," and that was it. So at that point in time, you've seen Caroline and Chioma walked in. You didn't see anything. You were talking to Laura and Mariam at that, downstairs. You've seen them walked in. You probably noticed that Caroline is not happy because you're actually speaking to Laura. Yep. Now, Chioma and Laura have actually gone upstairs. So, won't you actually kind of, in your mind, actually say, okay, oh, she's probably upset with me. Yeah. Let me go upstairs and probably explain myself. This is the reason why I'm actually speaking to Laura. When you people actually said we should actually ignore Laura. Yeah. But the thing is, when she went upstairs, all she went up to say was, "Oh, good night," and she felt that was okay. No, come on, seriously. You've already had an agreement that this is what you're going to do. So, of course, probably Caroline was actually upset that you were actually speaking to Laura. Iyabo was actually speaking to Laura. And that's probably the reason why she was probably upset. But, and probably hence the reason why she transferred that, whatever it was that she, was within her. But the thing is, Iyabo too also actually, take responsibility and say, you know what? I probably made a mistake. I probably should have spoken to the girls and said, "Oh, you know what? I had a conversation." And you know what? In all of this, nowhere did she actually mention that she told any of the girls that she spoke to Laura because this was the situation. This was none of her narration. She didn't actually clear the air on that. You know. So I mean, there's so many loopholes. I actually spotted. With the whole conversation that she was actually trying to make us believe that this is what actually happened. And as you said, her tone of voice. I mean, the way Caroline was, the way Laura Iyabo was actually going on, like she was anything to do with Caroline. It was always a high pitched voice, and anything to do with her is a voice of reasoning. No, sorry. I mean, hey, you're trying to actually make us believe that, yeah, she was the problem and you were not the problem. Listen, Caroline has her faults. Caroline definitely has her faults. But don't come onto the show making it look like you are the better person. You are the, you did nothing wrong. You did a hell of a lot. And Chioma is no better, because I remember with Chioma at the beginning of, I think it was episode 12. I mean, Chioma actually said, "Oh, if we are going to be enemies tomorrow, our secret is still safe with me." This is, she was actually talking about Caroline, and look at the situation she's actually putting herself into. So, I mean, I think I think she's I think the whole sort of interview which actually happened, and as you rightly mentioned, the interviewers, I felt they really let off, they really let off the Iyabo and Chioma by not actually asking the right questions or not even stopping them at some certain point in time, because as you said, Iyabo sometime at a point in time actually spoke for 1 hour, and when she actually spoke for 1 hour, nobody actually, said anything. It's like, oh, pause there, oh, what happened? At some different points in time, yeah, it probably did, but they just run for 1 hour. So, yeah, I mean, I think the interviewers, they too, they didn't actually ask relevant
All right.
questions, and they didn't actually put certain people in their place. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. A. Thank you so
Okay, no
much.
problem.
I mean, spot on, spot on. And let's give the floor to Amara. Please stick around if you're still around. Or you still want to speak more, you are welcome to. Okay, Amara, you can unmute yourself. Let's hear you.
Hi, Glory.
Hi, you're welcome.
I think I've been following you for a while, and I want to say, good job.
Thank
Um,
you.
I'm going to go straight into it so I don't waste too much time. But I think I'm one of the people who actually, wants to advocate for Chioma on this live. I feel like a lot of people, agree with the whole, Caroline narrative, which is fine. And honestly, this is even like conversational. So I want to point out some things, and if people still feel like, okay, these things that I'm saying, they have opinions or facts that can debunk them, then we can just go ahead and talk about it. So it's very conversational, very lighthearted. So the first thing I wanted to say was that I want to speak on the fight, right? So I want to speak on what got Chioma to where she was with Caroline. And I feel like that is the most important aspect, because everything that has happened before, these people are new to the show, like, we're getting to know each other, all the filming and editing. But I feel like where we saw the most drastic change was where we like literally are seeing Chioma like fight Caroline, her best friend. So I'm going to speak on that primarily. The first thing I wanted to say was for the room arrangement, right? And I'm going off of the interview too, that they said everything I'm going to say is going to be, about facts that a lot of the women confirmed. So Toyin confirmed it, Iyabo confirmed it, Chioma confirmed it, and like Mariam.
Are they facts? Were you there?
No. Okay, they're not facts, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't to try my best to not be biased. Like, I'm going to make sure that the things that I point out are actually not just Trauma's opinion specifically, but like many people have said it. So just to go off of that to better, see the conversation. But for the room arrangement, right? The first thing we need to note is that Iyabo and Toyin shared a room, if we remember. Toyin was the celebrant, right? This is her birthday. This is her own hosting. But she, for the first half of this trip, shared a room with Iyabo, right? Then going on to like the change and the switch, that I feel like Toyin just thought to her in her head, okay, well, Iyabo and I have shared a room, so maybe we should be the ones to go and like go to this new apartment. They communicated this to Caroline, so they said, and Caroline was actually the one who communicated it to Chioma that, oh, okay, Toyin's husband is coming, why don't we just go ahead and give it to her, right? I know that Chioma said that Caroline started complaining afterwards. Like you said, we were not there, we don't know, right? We don't know anything that happened at that time, and I don't want to speak on that. But I feel like if they did ask Caroline, oh, Caroline, is it okay for you and Chioma to share a room, right? And you confirm and then tell Chioma doesn't have an issue with it. All of a sudden, you're angry with, crew members, or you're getting worked up about a situation that you confirmed was okay, right? To me, I just feel like, first of all, the fact that Toyin and Iyabo decided to share a room, Toyin made that executive decision, even if it was her birthday. I don't see why, if at the other half they ask you and you confirm that it is all right, you now start complaining or getting worked up about that situation. To me, I don't understand. And now going into the fact that Iyabo tries to speak to her, and she automatically says she transfer of aggression. Yes, that makes sense, right? But I feel like if it was Laura who did that, who did exactly what Caroline did, we would have pinned her on the cross of Calvary. As
That's
in
why we said
somebody.
we were not there because we don't know what happened, right? Even if it's Laura, I myself, I will not even be able to say anything because, sorry for taking the words off your mouth, all right?
Yeah.
Laura, sorry, Caroline said on the
Mm-hmm.
show now, on the last episode, that she had
Mm-hmm.
asked the producers, the crew
Yeah.
members for something, and they had
Mm-hmm.
treated her as irrelevant. We don't know
Okay.
what that thing is. And she did not explain it. Let's go and watch that video. She did not explain what exactly that thing is. Some people are saying that, oh, she actually asked for a room arrangement, something. She didn't say what it was. Watch that episode. It was Iyabo and who else was saying that, oh, it was because of the room. That's why I said we
Mm-hmm.
were not there. Please carry on.
Okay. No, I understand what you're saying. Just from, I feel like when the reunion comes out, we can get a better sense of what specifically she was talking about. But
Yeah.
just for the sake of my points and what the conclusions I derive personally, just from my opinion, I feel like
Mm.
Caroline did say several things about, or when she responded to Iyabo, it seemed like it was coming off from a place of, oh, you're going to be getting a room. And Chioma had, when I said I wasn't going to speak specifically about what Chioma said also that she did show like some, not dissatisfaction with the room arrangement. So everyone, Tony also said that, yes, I was not there, but Tony also said that, yes, that Caroline was upset about the room arrangement. And she came to say, oh, Caroline, I thought you said it was okay. I thought you confirmed. So I get that we haven't said that, and probably we'll find out more at the reunion. But for now,
Yeah.
I'm just assuming that that is literally what happened, just because several women did say that that was her issue, like especially Toyin as well, who was the host of the whole thing, right?
Mhm.
And for me, right, if there was a transfer of aggression, Caroline also confirmed that there was a transfer of aggression. To me, I feel like that is really, really unprofessional, right? But even if it happened, okay, let's say that she did apologize and everything was okay. But Iyabo said something, and I really felt for Iyabo, right? Because she said something. She's like, I can't believe that, honestly, you are telling me that there's nothing I did wrong, that it was just a random transfer of aggression. Honestly, being someone that has been a victim of that, like when someone just blames you for no reason or attacks you for no reason, it really puts you in a place where it's like, okay, wait, I'm really, really confused. Like, what exactly is going on? Iyabo was so concerned, like Caroline, are you sure there's not something else that is really going on? Because for you to speak to me in that manner, right? I just don't understand. Iyabo should not have charged at anybody. Like, this is not WWE Championship ring or round. She shouldn't have charged at anyone, and that is wrong. Like, Iyabo should not resort to physical violence. But I did feel for her when she said, "I just didn't understand," and it seemed like she was doing a lot of the talking and literally aggravating the situation when I did nothing. That is, everybody knows that Laura is a certain way. She instigates people. It's literally like, we know what causes people to be upset with Laura. We know what causes people to feel a certain way. But for someone to just transfer aggression for something they did not do, Tony came up with the arrangements, not Iyabo. Iyabo is not the one doing the birthday. It is Tony who is hosting. So to me, I just felt like it was literally the wrong person, the wrong time, and it was uncalled for. It should not have happened, right? That is my stance. It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have been a mistake, and it shouldn't have occurred at all. That is
Yeah.
that is the way I think about it. And I feel like that is the root thing that caused everything else that came about. So the fact that we continue to write it off, but that is literally what made everything, the fire, everything happen. So personally, I feel like Caroline is giving a slap on the wrist. And then now let's go to Chioma. Chioma shows us bruises. Everybody confirms that, Chioma was kind of tossed around a bit, you know, and it just seems like even that alone, me trying to stand up for my friend and get bruised or get blisters or trying to stop Iyabo, that was not a fight. that Chioma had to be in, Chioma could have stepped away. There was no reason. Her and Iyabo were not enemies. Like her and Iyabo, they were not fighting each other. Like that wasn't Chioma's fight. But she did say, Iyabo also said that she had to push Chioma away, right? Because it was like Chioma was obstructing her from doing what she had to do. Mariam was also there. I feel like in that case, if Chioma says, I feel like you're being a bit insensitive and I'm trying to talk to you and get you to a place of understanding because I was literally the punching bag who took a lot of the bruises for you, then that makes sense, right? I've been talking for a while. Let me get to my last point so I can round up and
Don't mind my countenance. I'm taking notes of what you're saying because I have questions for you when you're
No,
done.
definitely. We should talk about it because I think a lot of the things you've been saying, I started to see also places where Chioma and Iyabo are wrong from what you said. So I really want us to have this conversation.
Yeah.
But the another thing that I wanted to say was, yes, a lot of people are saying she apologized once, second time, third time, right? Mariam, Chioma, and Iyabo both confirmed that during the billionaires party, Iyabo was still crying even after everything that's happened. So after the day of the fight and Caroline had apologized, she went in there and she was still crying for a while. Like I said, if someone attacks you and you did not do anything, you did not create the plan, or nothing happened, even if it was a situation of the girls keep assuming that it was because of Laura. Caroline never confirmed it was because of Laura that she was angry. So I will not even put that one out there because we don't know for that to be true. I think they're just saying that for saying sake. We're not going
Yeah.
to put light onto that because Caroline has not said anything on that. But if
Yeah.
my point is, if Iyabo was crying, yeah, let's be empathetic. Like, I understand that she apologized, but for someone to be looking at you and saying, oh, fuck this, that, you're talking about, you can't do anything. I want to see what you're going to do. That was a common trend that kept going around during that argument. Iyabo must have felt really, really hurt. Like, I didn't make these plans. I made sure that they spoke and communicated to Caroline. And now, like, I'm getting all this heat. Like, and then Iyabo, right? I looked at her and I don't know her from before, but I've looked around the narrative that follows Iyabo. It's like Iyabo is very chaotic. She's a Yoruba actress that people don't rate like that. Coming onto this show, I feel like she has done a good job to really push herself away. This last straw, obviously we can see that, okay, she didn't do the best, but she has been like, if we say somebody has been the neutral, probably Mariam first, then Iyabo. Like, they've tried their best to not really be too into all the arguments, just try their best to be mature about things. I'll give it to Iyabo prior to this episode, right? So I feel like coming in with that, I heard when these women spoke, I felt their pain. I didn't just say, okay, no, I want to look at the holes. I literally heard them and felt empathy for them, because Iyabo, being somebody that everybody is always saying is a fighter and this thing, now you have put her in this situation where she has resorted to fighting, but this situation had nothing to do with her. She is in the core of it. Iyabo is
Okay.
blameless. In the
Okay.
core.
Sorry, Amara. Sorry,
Yeah,
Amara. I'm sorry for pausing you midway because
no problem.
this studio is full. Okay.
Yeah,
So
no
you
problem.
can still speak around, please. You still speak again. But
Yeah, no
quickly,
problem.
I just want to drop some words of thought for you
Okay,
and
no
then
problem.
I really appreciate the angle you came from. It makes a lot of sense. And that was why when I was speaking, I said that Iyabo's emotions are valid, Choma's emotions are valid, just as Caroline's emotions as well are valid. You made a
Yeah.
very, very strong point when you stated that Choma is also cool with Iyabo. So it wasn't like they were actually fighting, you understand? But
Mm-hmm.
there's a question, right? So this is what it is. If Iyabo and Choma, they are really cool. I understand Iyabo gave like a backstory. She's working on having anger issues and all of that, right? And
Yes.
Iyabo claims to have loved Chioma from first sight. And she was throwing around blind rage. I understand that that was some kind of blind rage episode that happened to Iyabo at that point in time. For we have to say this again, right? We were not there. We did not see how this whole thing escalated from 0 to 100. We only have the word of testimony from Choma and Iyabo, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
from what they both stated she was angry, and Chioma herself even gave an account of what she had heard that Iyabo could do when she is enraged. So at that
Yeah.
point in time, we can safely label that to be Iyabo displaying blind rage. It was blind rage because even Chioma, that she claimed to have loved from first sight, was right in front of her, trying to stop her from charging at Caroline. But what did she do? She charged at Chioma and flung her aside twice or three times. Now, what I want to say is this. The same Chioma that was now attacking Caroline at the poolside, saying, I need you to assure me that you are not going to execute on me blind rage as you did on Iyabo. The
Yeah.
question is, didn't Chioma at that point in time recognize that she had just gone through blind rage the previous night with Iyabo 3 times? Because that was
Yeah.
also blind rage. I'm not supporting any of them here. We're just
Mhm.
taking the obvious. Because that was blind rage, right?
Mhm.
You people are obviously cool. Choma has different kind of relationships with each of these women, right? And Iyabo clearly really loves her as a daughter. So how upset was Iyabo that she also successfully transferred that aggression? Because that was also a transfer of aggression on Chioma. Now, my
Mhm.
point is, Choma has every right to be upset. Nobody wants to sustain bruises on behalf of anybody. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether you're my sister or my sibling, whatever. I cherish my skin, and Choma obviously does same. But I felt like, was it fair that she was transferring all of the blame on
Mhm.
Caroline? Right?
Mhm.
I mean, if you think about it, she's right for transferring blames to Caroline as well. But I mean, Iyabo is not innocent in that regard as well, right?
Yes.
It was blind rage that Iyabo meted out on her.
True.
Not once, not twice, maybe multiple times. We did not know how that unfolded, right?
Yes.
So please just stick around. I wanted you to, think about those things first, and then we'll still bring you back, okay? So
Okay,
let me
no
just
problem.
yeah. So let me just quickly move on to Agnes. Hi, Agnes. If you can unmute yourself so we can hear you. Hello.
Muted me. Hello.
Hi, Agnes. You're
Hi,
welcome.
Glory. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Good evening. So let's hear your opinion, please.
So for me, I think I'll start from the last point you made, okay? About
Okay.
Chioma and Iyabo, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I would think the reason as to why Chioma didn't get that mad at Iyabo, it's because she got in Iyabo's way. You see that,
Okay.
eh? Because
Mm-hmm.
Iyabo did not attack Chioma. She was trying to attack Caroline, and then Chioma jumped in. You can't blame someone for sustaining bruises when you clearly are the one that got in the way. So it means you sustained the bruises out of your own actions. And on the podcast they made, actually, you can never make a judgment until you hear both sides of the story. Let's
Mm-hmm.
first get that clear. And another thing, this is a reality show whereby we can never get to the bottom of that fight.
Okay. Yeah. True.
And then the producers knew what they were doing by not showing us the fight.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted us to, let's say, if there is a next season, they wanted people to have storylines. I don't think most people are familiar with a storyline. First of all, this is a Real Housewives, which is totally different from the ideal Real Housewives. You join with a storyline.
Hmm.
But most of these women didn't come with anything that, or maybe we're on the show because of this and that. Because normally they're either talking about a relationship or they're talking about the situation they've been through. There has to be something. But the way the show was introduced, no one had a storyline at all. It was just like a group of people. Now they started living around each other. That was the first confusing thing about this whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. So the producers, I think maybe because they are new to it, but this was not the ideal Real Housewives. Because you're talking about Real Housewives, you have to show us families, people. Like now for Mariam, it was just a snippet when they visited. You understand? And then for Laura, it was just when they were at the pool, or she was telling the husband about the fight with Caroline. That is also another fault for the producers. So these women are trying to say, oh, Caroline, Caroline, Caroline. Somehow they may be true, because remember, Caroline did an interview and claimed she was not friends with anybody in that group. And then she denied also, remember, about knowing Toyi. Like you remember that Twitter, whatever they are. But again, the information came out that they were actually best friends at a certain point. So I was rooting for Caroline, but when that Twitter fight happened, I was taken back. I was like, Caroline, is there something you're hiding? Because one point you're saying this, and then the truth is different, and then you have this history of the things they were fighting about with Toyi. You can't have such fights, such history with someone you've been close to for 2 months, like she claimed. It can never happen. It doesn't happen like that. So she has her own stuff, and then she was complaining about the producers so much when she was explaining herself. You remember that was it a podcast?
Yeah.
Which never happens in a Real Housewives world. You never ever blame the producers for anything. You're not supposed to.
This one is the first. There's the first time for everything.
You understand? So the producers didn't pay, but again, if you're trying to start a show, at least know the basics. Because now, remember, we got to know that they would fight with Chioma before even the fight happened, which means she spoiled for us the moment of wow. You understand?
No,
When
it
she
wasn't only
said,
Caroline, Agnes.
sorry.
Toyin had it wasn't only Caroline. Toyin had an interview, Choma had an interview, Caroline had an interview. And each
Yeah.
of them, they gave hints. Yeah, so it wasn't only Caroline. Please continue.
Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to tackle one by one the mistakes they made, because for Caroline, I think Caroline is the first one that exposed that she was betrayed, right? So guess what? All of us were like, okay, now it means they will no longer be friends. But imagine if she had kept that information until the fight happened. Like, we would have enjoyed the show more. That's what other franchises do of Real Housewives. You don't disclose what is in the show just like that. You talk about it after it happens. But here she made a podcast before you even saw anything. And then that Twitter fight with Toyi is like, we already knew, depending on confessionals from Toyi, she would show that there was something bad between them. There was some bad blood. So for me, everything she said, I was like, no wonder you were bashing her in your confessionals. And one thing that blows my mind is that Chioma, like, you're doing too much. Don't show us right now that Caroline is that bad when you literally said you were friends, though Caroline said they were not friends. But Choma, you remember, Choma said they were friends, right? So if she was really that bad and irritating, why did you allow that energy around you? And then you were looking at Laura as the worst person. But according to you, it is Caroline. So you see, there are a lot of loopholes in the production itself, and then the content the housewives are bringing. It's not. I wouldn't rate it with any housewives franchise. It is literally maybe even, you see, there is a Dubai they just started, but it's so much interesting than this one, but it is also fresh. So they need to go back and study about Real Housewives, and then they can come back next season. And I'll talk about what else? Is it Iyabo? Yeah.
Yeah, quickly, quickly.
Uh People always say bad things about Iyabo. So when I show her on the show, I was like, wow, let me wait and see the characters people were talking about. But she didn't really do much before that last episode. I was like, okay. I was wondering, like, for someone that gets mad like that, is aggressive, all of those late comings would have really took her to the edge, more like Laura. You understand? So was she really acting? Maybe she was acting.
Okay.
So, and for her, saying that she didn't say anything to Caroline, that's a lie. Because Caroline is not a mad person to just come from nowhere. First of all, that was a comment about the ex-husband and the bracelet, right? Which means Caroline was already pissed, and I know Iyabo must have said something that irritated Caroline again. But I feel like if Caroline is to come back in the next season, I'll be a bit disappointed with the producers, because this is the only person that exposed you, that broke all the rules of Real Housewives. Like, everything she was saying, the producers this, I've never watched any franchise where someone is saying the producers did this to me, so I reacted like this. We're not supposed to know, because you're supposed to pretend it is real life. But literally, Caroline was like, the producers, I asked for this, they talked to me like that. We don't need to know. We're pretending that it is real life. No one is making you do stuff. You understand?
All right, Agnes. Thank you so much, Agnes. So you can just sit around. We'll bring you back, okay? Let's quickly. But really, thanks. I like the angle you came from, right? I mean, you sound like someone that really follows almost all the franchises around the world. But really, thank you so much, okay? Queen are you there? You can unmute, please. Let's hear you.
Sorry, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Oh, God. Hope you are doing well. I've been having a good laugh here.
I'm fine.
I totally disagree with Agnes on almost everything she said. The Real Housewives franchise doesn't come with a formula, please. It doesn't come with a manual that you are supposed to follow. You have to do this, you have to do that. When you watch the Real Housewives of Atlanta, you hear Lily Leaks and the other castmates bastardizing the production if something goes wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, especially when it's making you as a character come out as the one who is always complaining about something. If we are all in a production and I ask for something and I've seen other people ask for the same thing and mine is being denied, what's my wrong in coming out to say this and this is what happened? There's absolutely nothing wrong. I've written a lot of things down, but after hearing some of the things Agnes and Mara, I think I have a lot of questions and even comments. So I don't even know where to start. First of all, I don't agree that Iyabo was neutral in any way from episode 1 to 12. She was never neutral. She was shading all the women in her confessionals from day one. So she wasn't neutral. Probably the most neutral person was Mariam. And even with that, I have questions about it. So I don't think Iyabo was neutral in any way. And then the second thing was, when Iyabo was having the interview with the ladies, he mentioned something about Caroline showing her some text messages that Tony has sent to Caroline about Iyabo. And we didn't see in any of the episodes where she went attacking Tony the way she wanted to attack Caroline. Why is that? Why was she able to hold herself together, stay calm, and then pretend throughout Tony's what the traditional thing that she held and not attack her? Even though she confessed that she actually saw the text messages. And when later she confronted Tony behind the scenes, Tony apologized. Why couldn't she do the same? Do you understand? And then in the same, why are you saying that Caroline passing her aggression on Iyabo shouldn't be understood, but Iyabo passing her aggression on Chioma and throwing her against the wall, we should come and clap for Iyabo? It doesn't make sense to me. So if someone comes to you with that kind of aggression and you also attack someone else, I was expecting actually Chioma to go to Iyabo and say that I wasn't the one you wanted to fight. I came in the way. Why are you not apologizing to me? You understand? But Chioma decided that everything that Caroline was doing was rather wrong, and that everything Tony was doing was the right thing. That's why she stood by Tony. And in the interview, you realize that even when the interviewers were asking Chioma questions, she was the one answering the questions for Chioma. Mm-hmm. The whole time she was answering Chioma's questions. And I felt like, why has Chioma lost her voice? Why is she not answering her own questions? And you answer the questions and so contradict yourself. You said that apology that Caroline said wasn't meant for you. But at the same time, you said you heard them shouting when you were trying to go into their room and say that you know what, everything is fine. You heard Caroline shouting that I'm not going to apologize to her. So how is it that Caroline apologizes to Chioma and now you are saying that apology wasn't for you? Honestly, it doesn't make sense to me. And I feel Iyabo just kept contradicting herself and, like you said, shooting herself in the foot. And Chioma defending Iyabo when she was angry. For me, you remember that Chioma said she had a conversation with Iyabo, and Iyabo said when she's angry, the only thing she sees is red. And if she doesn't see blood, then it means she can never be okay. Is it because she didn't see the blood? That is why she kept crying. And even after all the apologies that Caroline did, she so insisted that she wasn't okay. Because she openly said, that's what Chioma, that Iyabo had told her that when she has issue with someone and she doesn't see blood, it means that she can never be okay. Probably that is what kept her in that mood and made her cry even at the Billionaires Club. So she wanted to see blood. And for me, if the production team had really done their background check, and you know that this is the kind of issues this person has, then they have no business bringing Iyabo on the show. For her to be called the auntie, to be seen as the mother of the show, what mother or what auntie will want to beat you blue black to see blood if she gets okay? And everything doesn't make sense. Honestly, from the 3-hour interview, I listened to everything and nothing makes sense to me. Sorry, nothing still makes sense. So a reunion, maybe that's when we'll probably understand. And my last thing to Agnes, Caroline never said she was friends with Tony. She said she knew Tony through a mutual friend, but she never were friends. Probably Tony thought she was friends with Caroline, but she didn't see her as a friend. I am in Ghana. I see Glory as my best friend. I see Glory and I feel she's like my best friend, my sister. Probably Glory doesn't feel the same way about me. It's not my fault, or it's not Glory's fault that she doesn't feel the same way. So if Caroline comes and says that Tony wasn't my friend, don't sit there and say that she was lying. She wasn't lying, Glory. And I'll take and then
All right. Oh my God, I think you mistakenly muted yourself. But really, thank you so much, Queen. Thank you so much, Queen. I'm really enjoying the fact that everybody is coming with their own opinion. I mean, it shows that we watched the show by ourselves and listened to that interview. So just gonna quickly move on to Steph. Hi, Steph. Unmute so that we can hear you. So just gonna quickly move on to Hello, Steph. Hi, Steph.
Hi, can you hear me?
Unmute so that yes, okay. You have to
Hello,
use
can you
your
hear me?
yes, yes. Can you use your headphones?
Hello?
Yes, use your
Yeah, can you hear
headphones.
me?
I can hear you, but you have to use your headphones so that we
All
don't
right.
hear. Yes,
Okay, can you hear me? Is that better now?
yes. You're welcome.
Okay. Hi, Glory.
You're
Yeah, I
welcome.
just want to just a quick contribution. It's just I just feel like when people say like obviously the show like you can't talk about the producer or whatever. I feel like obviously you can. Obviously, if you feel like there's something that was not provided for you, I don't think there's any contract that you're signing. If they sign a contract that or they can't talk about certain things, then they wouldn't talk about it. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
don't feel like they can't talk about things that happen in the show. You know, but obviously they can't go into details, but they can talk about things that affect them in some certain way. In some to some certain extent. So what I was going to say is that when in the interview where Chioma said that she came late, and obviously Caroline came and picked when Caroline came to her house, and then Caroline waited for just an hour, and yeah, it's not a big deal because it's just an hour or whatever. I just feel like that that is so rude, because at the end of the day, she waited for you. That's time. That's someone's time. Even though it's 5 minutes, that is someone's time, and you should not just talk about it like it's just nothing. You know what I mean? She waited for you. She was your friend, and she waited for you, and all that. So I feel like Iyabo and Chioma came to that interview. They've had a discussion, and they came to that interview like supporting each other and not taking any accountability for anything. Because at the end of the day, you can't just be putting blame like, oh, it's Caroline, it's Caroline. We're not saying that Caroline is innocent, but you just can't be placed, when you and Caroline was having that argument or whatever, and you decided to attack Caroline, and then Chioma stepped in the middle, and then Chioma got injured, how is that Caroline's fault?
exactly.
That is your fault. You're a grown woman of 45 years old. You should know. But if Caroline is talking to you in a way that you don't like, you can walk away. Take a deep breath. Just walk away. You're not locked in the room with her. You're not in jail. So at the end of the day, if Chioma got injured by Iyabo, then she should confront Iyabo and said, "Oh, look what happened. Like obviously, like you were so angry, like you should call. Why? You know what I mean? Just have a discussion, but don't place the blame. Like, oh, I feel like the reason why Caroline was even being defensive, like, oh, Chioma, I don't think that I need to like continue apologizing, is because Caroline kind of felt like, like, why am I the only one being blamed for this? Like, at the end of the day, I know what I did. I've earned my part. Other people should earn their own path, So I feel like, how Nini is the queen in Real Housewives of Atlanta and all that. I feel like that's the kind of territory that, they want to place Iyabo. But at the end of the day, Nini, anyone that comes to the show new, they always come for Nini. They always come. There's nobody that is a queen that no one can touch, that you're untouchable. You're not. This is not like mother and daughter's relationship show. This is a show whereby these women are all grown-ass women. They have businesses. They're professionals. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I feel like Chioma, obviously, because she's the youngest of the show, so obviously she's clinging to Iyabo like a motherly figure. And to me, I feel like they need to cut that relationship. It don't make any sense, because this is a show whereby everyone needs to stand on their own. And stand on their own, and obviously we need personality to come out. And if you don't have personality, you can't hide behind somebody else. You can't hide behind somebody else. And at the end, the only person that actually gave something in this show was Caroline. Because if Caroline did not obviously how can I say, if she didn't, like, obviously when someone offend Caroline will talk to you, you know, she will obviously defend herself, and she will obviously talk about it. So I feel like Caroline was the only one that actually, you know, was herself completely. I'm not supporting anybody, I'm just saying, but I feel like obviously everybody was like, even like Chioma, when she was like, oh, you know, I'm a queen, you know, I'm classy, I'm never going to put myself in any level, you know, I'm not going to put myself in a low level, no matter what anyone do to me, I'm just going to, you know, I'm never going to come, I'm not going to run in the mud with pigs, let's just put it that way. But then you got upset because Caroline was not apologizing to Iyabo, and then you pushed, you know, you were acting like an animal. So I don't understand, you know, at the end of the day, just it's not adding up. Whatsoever they do is not adding up. But for me, what I'm just saying is that I'm not on anyone's side, but I feel like people need to own their own stuff. Like, own your stuff, own your, you know, whatever you did, own it with your full chest, and that's it. And move forward. You're growing, and move forward. That's it.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Steph. Thank you so much. I mean, very, very valid questions you asked there. Very, very strong points you made. Thank you so much. And for real, if there's going to be another season, as you said, I would really love to see a stretch in that relationship. You know, all the sympathy is my best friend. I really want to see a stretch. Let me see how each housewife can stand and defend their own territory. Then
Exactly.
we are going to know who the real queen is. Yeah.
Exactly. And what I was going to say, sorry, another thing, you know, like when Iyabo said she's got anger management. Remember
Mm.
when Portia attacked Kenya in the reunion, and then
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kenya rang the police? Portia actually went to jail actually, and then obviously she
Mm.
was released out of bail, and everything was sorted out. So I feel like if you are going to be violent in a show whereby it's not a violent show, you need to obviously you need anger management.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Portia was going to anger management and everyone was sitting ready? Because everyone's going to be sitting up ready for season 2. Everyone's going to be sitting ready. Like, if they know that you're the one that is any little thing that you're just going to be attacking, people are going to be sitting ready, prepared for you. So when you're going to come with your anger situation, they're going to be ready to face you. So you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So at the end of the day, we need to be clear of what this is. Like, people need to, they need to be accountability. If there's violence, they need to, you know, that person needs to be accountable for the violence that they did.
Yeah.
Like Iyabo, nobody is putting any blame. They all say, oh, Caroline. But Iyabo was violent to the extent whereby she threw Chioma, and Chioma injured herself. That is really dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, this is something that they need to highlight. And this is something that if Iyabo got issues, anger management issue, probably should take a break from the show and go and seek professional help. You know, you come and say,
Exactly.
I'm in work in progress. Well, this is not bad. This is not bad girls club where you're allowed to fight. You know, this is Real Housewives. So if you feel like you've got anger problem, anger management, then you should fix that before you can enter any reality. Because people are going to offend you. These are not your friends. These are just your work partners, and these are people that you know, there's storyline, there's things that is going to happen that people are going to offend you. And if you don't have self control, then you should not be in a show like this. You need to go seek professional help and then come back or whatever. So that's all I'm saying. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Steph. I mean, you just raised a very valid question in my head. Please, if there is any lawyer, any barrister in the house, I need someone to come and settle this case. You see that scenario, yeah, where Chioma was trying to stay and defend Caroline when she was in between, and Yabo threw her against the vanity mirror twice. I need a barrister that can come and defend that case. Tell us who is
Exactly.
wrong and tell us who should be sent to jail if it comes to that. Because
Exactly.
we need someone
Is
that
it
can
the
actually do
aggressor, or is it the person that is just there? Like, obviously, is it the
exactly.
aggressor? Because who's the aggressor realistically was Iyabo.
Mm-hmm.
She was the violent. She was the one that put people's life in danger because she was the one that was acting
Exactly.
like a loose cannon. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, Iyabo should be apologizing to Chioma and also Caroline. I'm sorry, because Caroline is not your child that you can just smack and you just get angry. You want to just beat. No, even your child, you can't even beat your child. That's domestic violence. If it's a man that
Mm-hmm.
attack you like that, will you not ring the police? So let's keep it
Exactly.
all the way 100% real. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
don't. This is violence is not acceptable in any form or shape. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
how someone people should not have the power over you. If people got the power over you to get you out of your character, that means you're trying to say that people own the power to your heart Or you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you can't, if you're giving your power out to people, then that's your problem. It's nobody else's problem. You know?
Exactly.
And if I feel like, you know why I feel like Iyabo was crying when she went to that billionaires club? Because she felt like she made the absolute monkey out of herself. She
Yeah.
was crying because she made a fool out of herself. Like, she knows she's got this demon, and she knows that she's got, you know, when you know you've got a demon and you feel like you be in a place whereby the demon has not really come out because you've not had anyone to trigger that demon, right? And then now you're in a position where people are, people are triggering that demon, and you can't hold it anymore, and now you've released it, and now you're ashamed, like, oh my god, so this thing is still affecting me, and now it's time for you to identify it and look for help. Period.
Thank you so much, Steph. Thank you so much. Honestly, guys, for those of you watching this is not a Caroline supporters show. No. We're
Absolutely
trying
not.
to pick out the loopholes on the show. And in as much as it can sound really painful, we have to call it a spade, honestly. And I'm very serious about us having a lawyer or two that can actually iron out that case for us. Honestly. And
Exactly.
it's quite interesting that Chioma herself is a lawyer. She glorifies
Mm-hmm.
herself as a lawyer. So I was wondering, like, how come she doesn't really understand what actually happens to her at that point in time? And then automatically she's blaming Caroline for her bruises. But we're just going to pause there, all right, as we quickly move on to Irene. I'm serious. If you're a lawyer, quickly click on the link. I'm going to share the link again. Click on it and please come and help us defend this case, okay? Okay, Irene, let's hear from you, please. We'll unmute you. Sorry.
Hi,
Okay.
Gloria.
Hi.
So basically, my own point of view is completely, totally different. But before I
Okay,
get to the
can you
point,
more audible? So that we can hear you?
can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hold on a second.
And if you can use your headphones so that the sound does not bounce back, okay? Because I can hear myself echoing in the room.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. Please continue.
So for me, how I see it is completely, totally different. This whole situation that happened in the beginning, Iyabo saw Caroline as like, this person that Tony has spoken about already. So she had an idea of how Caroline is. Do you get? So in her mind, she's already pictured like, okay, maybe this person, I won't get on with this person because of what this person has told me already. And then with Chioma, I feel like with Caroline and Chioma, the friendship is Chioma saw it as like, oh, maybe this friendship will be beneficial for her. But down the line, she saw it wasn't beneficial for her. Then she switched side. For me, that's how I see it.
Okay.
Because in the beginning, Chioma was all cool with Iyabo. They were hanging out, they were going out and everything, obviously in episode 1 and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden it changed. Then she was with Caroline. Then all of a sudden now it changed back to Iyabo. So for me, I just see it, she just thought of it as like, okay, you know what, this person is beneficial for me, so I'm gonna stick with this person. And she just realized, you know what, Caroline is not beneficial for me, so there's no point of me holding on to that friendship. So she used what happened as an opportunity for her to get out from the friendship. But she doesn't want people to see her as two-faced, so she did it in that way. Because for me, it's like, okay, you saw Caroline and Laura having a fight, and you were there when the whole chat happened in the group and everything, but you didn't defend Caroline in that fight. Then all of a sudden, a fight happened with Caroline and Iyabo. Now you're defending her. It doesn't really make sense. If you want to say, you know what, you want to stay out of trouble because you don't want to be in the mix, then you should have stayed out from both of the fight. You shouldn't have been involved to begin with. There's no point for you to be involved in. But no, you put yourself because you want to look like a certain kind of person, like the good person, or you're supporting the two women. But actually, no, you're not supporting the two women. You're supporting who you think is beneficial for you. And that's just how I see it. So that's just my point. I just wanted to keep it like short and simple.
Thank you so much, Irene. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
You know, I'm glad all the things you all are saying. It's not because of what I said. You all watched the show yourself. You listened to that interview. So I'm glad you all are positing your own opinion the way you see it. So thank you all so much. All right. So we're going to quickly move on to Free. You can unmute yourself free so we can hear you.
Hi, Glory. Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
welcome.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm good. You're welcome.
I actually listened to the whole 3 hours of the podcast that these ladies hosted. I think it's Tina and OG or so. Yeah. So I listened to everything, and to me personally, it was not a robust conversation at all. The ladies, they didn't know the right questions to ask, so Iyabo just took over the job. She was doing most of the talking. She was the one explaining. Even Chioma didn't even get to talk as much as Iyabo. Iyabo spoke a lot, and the ladies, they did not know the right questions to ask. And I know you've been coming down heavy on them, but I want to play devil's advocate for them a bit. First, you must understand that, just like you explained, they're not professional analysts like you. This is your job. You jot down questions to ask and the right things to say. But I don't think they do that. You understand? They don't do that. They just say whatever comes to mind, and they don't jot down, okay, important things, key things that they need to ask. And personally, I don't think it has anything to do with Iyabo or Chioma. They were taking it light on them, not because, oh, is Iyabo, is Chioma, they're scared of them or they prefer them. No. I remember Toyin was on their show, I think some weeks back, sorry, and it's the same way. They were very light. Even the questions they were asking her, I was like, these people, they're not even asking the key questions. You understand? So I just wanted to make you understand that it's not just about Iyabo and Chioma. When they had Toyin on the show, that was the same thing they did. They did not know the right questions to ask. So it's not a thing whereby, oh, they favor Iyabo and Chioma and they don't favor Caroline. And I personally believe that if Caroline and Laura were to ever be on that podcast, they'll still be soft on them. They won't know the right questions to ask, and they'll just keep, oh, yeah, it makes sense now, because they don't know what else to say. You understand? So I don't think they have a preference between them. I might be wrong, but this is how I feel. And after listening to the entire thing, listening to Iyabo and Chioma, and the only thing I could just conclude from Chioma's angle was that, for me, I might be wrong, but this is how I just felt. After analyzing everything in my head, I was like, okay, simple and short. Chioma has weighed her options. First of all, she's somebody that she does not like to move alone. She likes to move in pack. She likes to be in a group and all of that. And she has weighed her options, and she has seen that, okay, Caroline is not in good terms with most of the ladies on the show. You understand? Except Iyabo, and it's not like they were besties or anything. No, they were just cordial. And she has seen that, okay, if I keep doing bestie with Caroline, it will put me in a bad light. Do you understand? She'll be caught in the middle. So I just felt like all those things she did that day, she just deliberately exaggerated everything because she just wanted to bond bridge with Caroline and just be on Iyabo's side. She has waited that, okay, I can't just continue being this girl's bestie. She has issues with this person, that person. And Chioma is the sort of person that she wants to be in a group. She wants to always be with people, mingling and all of that. And definitely it's going to put her in a bad light if she continues to stick with Caroline. Caroline is a strong personality. She's somebody that can stand on her own. She does not need anybody to back her or defend her. And that's one thing I really admire her about Caroline. She's very, very strong. So that's how I felt like after listening to everything they said. And when Iyabo was shouting, because she was shouting most of the time, that, oh, Caroline just started shouting. I was like, is Caroline mad? Like, how can Caroline just go from 0 to 100? She said when she went to tell them good night as she was about to leave, Caroline now said, oh, you're insensitive, you have a room to yourself, blah blah blah. And the next thing, she just started shouting. I was like, no, I don't believe that. How can she just go from 0 to 100 just like that, just because you have a room to yourself? So I didn't even buy that part at all. I wasn't even buying it. It didn't make sense to me. And then I flashed back to that boho event that Caroline hosted in a house or wherever the venue was. And I remember, that particular clip was what they even used for their ads when Caroline was shouting that, oh, I'm going to kill all of you. When she was shouting at Laura now,
Yes.
then they even use it for their promotion and all of that. And if you're somebody that did not watch the entire episode and you just watch only that clip, you would think that Caroline is mad, that she was just shouting and reacting unprovoked. But you won't know that Laura actually provoked her. You understand? So I feel like that was the picture Iyabo was trying to paint at that point. I was like, no, it doesn't make sense that she would just go from 0 to 100. She's not a crazy person. She's not bipolar. So there's something that might have happened or something you said that did not sit right with her. And back to the time when they were sitting down together and she asked her, oh, which boyfriend and all of that. And on the podcast, she was saying, oh, she didn't mean it in a malicious way. She was just asking, it was a girl's child, da, da, da. I was like, okay, fine, that's how you feel. But best believe that if it was Iyabo, she's not going to find it funny. Just imagine that Caroline or any other person on that show dare to ask her such a thing like, oh, who gave you this thing? Is it your current man? She will be so pissed. She will be so pissed. So when she was saying that, I was like, oh, it's easy for you to say that, oh, it's just a girl's talk, but you don't know how it might have made her feel, so you can't just dismiss it and say, oh, it's just a girl's talk, there's nothing there. You understand? Because I know she won't find it funny. And then this attitude of them throwing fists is becoming really, really irritating, because I watched the clip yesterday when what's her name, Toyin wanted to attack Chioma, and I was like, I don't get what's all this. It's beginning to I don't know the word to use, but it's becoming really, really irritating. I think season 2, I know that I guess we like Bass Bulls and all of that, but season 2, the producers need to like put some clause that, okay, you can attack with your mouth, say whatever you want to say verbally, but don't attack anybody. Imagine Toyin getting up to slap Chioma. I don't know what Chioma might have said to her or done to her, but you're going to slap her. Why? Is she your child? Is she your child? Like, I don't get, like, all these women, they're just very weird. Yeah, Chioma is the youngest there, but she's not your child. Even if she says something that pisses you off, don't talk to her again. Instead, walk out or just ignore her. Sometimes silence is even worse than hitting somebody. It's worse. But you're going to hit her as if she's your child, or you can just tell her to lie down and be killing her. That's very, very wrong. They need to get themselves in check. And it's always easy for them to justify themselves, say, oh, I have anger issues. Whenever they've act out and people are bashing them, the first line of action is, oh, mental health, or I have anger issues. That's what they do. So when Iyabo was saying, oh, she has anger issues, she's trying to work on it, I was like, Lori, that's a big lie, big. This is how you are. Don't come and tell us, oh, you have anger issues, you're trying to work. You're not trying to work on nada. This is how you are. Everybody knows you are aggressive, And the other lady that came, I would like to disagree with her. Aside from the fact that this lady is the fourth, what's her name now, Iyabo and Caroline, from episode 1, I don't think I remember a time when Iyabo was rude or mean to Caroline. I don't. Matter of fact, I personally believe like Tony manipulated all of them. She might not have done it on camera, but definitely she told them what happened. See the way Laura reacted to Caroline and all of that. So they definitely know what has transpired. The other ladies, they were always acting funny towards Caroline. They were always making slight remarks. But Iyabo, I don't remember a time when she was rude or mean to Caroline. I don't remember a time like that. And even when Laura and Caroline had their issue about the text, I remember Iyabo telling her there and then, that's Laura, that text you sent was malicious. It was very malicious. So if there was anybody in that group that was even nice to Caroline after everything they've heard about her, it was Iyabo. So it's really sad that they fell out like this. I don't think it should have deteriorated to that point where, oh, you're now hitting each other, flinging Chioma as if she's one accessory. Like, there was no need for all that, honestly. And if I were Chioma, I'm not going to find it funny. Like, imagine flinging somebody and she hits me. Or the way she was even explaining it, I was scared. Like, what is this? Are we watching wrestling? That you're carrying her, you're slamming her against the wall. If you're all that, why not just go to a Balinde and just start a Champions League there and trophies with the Agbero on the streets? It's really crazy. So I think they need to curtail that part, the whole violence part. And overall, that's just how I feel. I think moving forward in season 2, I don't think Caroline and what's her name, Iyabo, I don't think they're going to mend fences. That's if they even come back for season 2. I don't think they're going to mend fences, because Caroline, she's the kind of person that once you just do something to her, she's very mindful. She might be cordial with you, but in her mind, she already knows that, okay, you don't like me, so I'm just going to give you that long distance. And then there was one statement that these ladies, they keep contradicting themselves. First, they will say that, oh, when they were coming on the show, they did not know the other cast members. They don't know who they were going to meet, da da da. And then on that podcast, Iyabo made a statement that what's her name, Caroline, that Caroline did not want Toyin on the show initially, that she was telling them. And I was like, but these same women, you guys are the ones that said you did not know who was coming on the show until you started filming. So it was confusing me. Like, can you pick a struggle? Which one is it? First, you said Caroline wanted them to kick her, to kick Tony off. Then later, you said that you guys don't know who was going to be on the show. So you see that their stories is not actually,
It's
it's
not
not
enough.
marinating together. You know, it's just disjointed. And Chioma did not do a lot of talking. She did not do a lot of talking. And even though she might not have said so, but I believe that Chioma was a bit remorseful, like for what she did to Caroline. You understand? I might be wrong, but I felt like she felt bad. She didn't say a lot, although she was still saying a lot of things that were not accurate, standing her ground. She didn't realize that the timing was wrong, but still, in everything she was saying, I could still feel that, okay, she had a tiny bit of regret that, okay, I could have done this better, or I could have done that better, you know, but who knows? But Iyabo was forming hard guy, and even if Chioma have in mind to apologize to Caroline, I don't think Iyabo will even allow her. Iyabo might just spoil her mind and be like, oh, no, 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 there's no need for all that, you know, just allow it go. And then she just let it go. But Caroline will be okay. Like I said, she's the kind of person that she does not need crowd or soldiers to be following her. She's a one-man mopo, and I love her for that. She's so strong on her own. So that's
Thank
just
you.
my thoughts.
Thank you so much, Ray. Thank you so much. You really cracked me up with the with the last part of we did not know each other before coming to the show. Oh God, I've heard that thing so many times, and it's very hilarious. And then there was another comment I saw. Okay, it was from Katrina from Big Brother Nigeria. She said, "Oh, I don't know if she was just catching cruise anyways." When she said, "Oh, when Tony told me to come and join the show, if I had come, I would have trained there for 365 days." And I've heard stories from these women, and it's seeming like, is it Toyin that was the one going to scout cast members? I don't
Never.
understand. I thought it was the producers that were going to pick who they wanted on the show. You know, so there's so many contradictions. Even Iyabo saying that our issues with Laura started before the show, you know, and then when they met on the show again, they had. I mean, what do you like? For you people, you act like you don't know each other before, but obviously you know each other. You've been fanning each other on social media,
I mean, I
Instagram.
say that. I say that because a lot of people have been gunning for Caroline that, oh, she lied when she said she did not know Tony. I'm like, no, she's not the
Yeah.
only one that lied. Yes, she lied, but she's not the only one. All of them lied. They all said they did not know each other before. But one way or the other, we are now finding out that, okay, they knew each other before. Even if they were not best friends, they had a history, or at one time they did a business together. So you guys actually know each other before. So stop making it about Caroline that, oh, Caroline lied, she lied. All of them, they lied about not knowing each other, but they knew each other. You know, the only person that actually agreed to knowing the other person was Mariam. I think that was Mariam and Tony, if I'm not mistaken. They were like, oh, they go from way back and all of that. That's why I'm not really mad at Mariam. Anything she's doing, she's just a blind follower of Tony.
That is
Anyhow,
absolutely.
anyhow that Tony is feeling, she'll just be rubbing her shoulders, you know, always ready to bash Caroline. Oh, Caroline, you're not sorry. Oh, you did that. Oh, did that. So that one, I don't even used to reason Miriam at all. She's just living inside Tony's bubble.
All right, Ray. Thank you so much, Ray. Thank you so much, Ray. That was really insightful. We're going to move on to Emanuela. Emanuela, can mute so that we can hear you. Hello, Emanuela. You can mute yourself, or rather unmute yourself so that we can hear you.
Oh, Glory.
Hi, you're welcome.
This is my Gloria. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Thanks for
You can see I've been
joining.
struggling to come in and all of that.
Oh, so sorry. But I'm glad you're here now.
Yeah. So I'm so glad I'm here again.
Welcome. Welcome.
And first,
Welcome.
I want to talk about. I'm so glad that the reunion is going to take place very soon.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy when I saw Toyin and Chioma. And Toyin said, I will slap you. She was ready to go physical with Chioma. I was so happy. Do you know why?
Why?
Chioma doesn't even know what is coming for her.
God.
Chioma, they are going to make a minced meat out of her. They will chop her, that girl.
Is that something we
Her
need to
backbone
know?
since has been Caroline, and she mistook it, and she was saying something else. I'm the one that makes. I can't even remember what she said. You've been standing because of me. Look at this small rat. They're in the midst of wolves. She thinks that what's her name, Iyabo, has the energy and everything to keep her in there. The true friend that I felt Chioma had was Caroline. And Caroline has been there for her, but she didn't notice it. She just thought, okay, she coming out all the time and said, okay, I'm here for Caroline. It's just it. It's not. These people, she wanted them by all means to be her friends. She wants to be in their good books, but she'll start falling out with them one after the other, because why they could not come to, come after her like that, like openly, like what they are doing now, is because Caroline was there. And Caroline is a very strong person. She has a strong personality and she's very strong. You can't break her. So she's there for Chioma. Chioma didn't know that. If Chioma and Caroline were still that close, I don't think Toyi will have the audacity to do what she was. Though we've not seen the full clips. I don't want to talk about that. But I was so happy that she did that. Very soon you see Laura doing the things she could not do before to her. And you see this Iyabo, this her new mother, is it godmother that she found? She will see this. Is it not this Lagos? Carol, what's her name? Chioma. Chioma doesn't know what she's doing, and I'm so happy when they said Uti. I want to talk about the Uti's part.
Okay.
So I was told that Uti was going to host it, and I saw Uti.
Yeah.
First, when I first heard Uti was going to, like, why Uti? Why not? I was thinking about this. I actually prefer IK.
Okay.
IK, so of what's it called?
Nigerian.
Yeah, so I actually wanted IK to do. You know, IK is he's diplomatic in handling issues. And there is a way he could tell you, go to her, you gladly take the key and you go. So, and he could, like, I like the guy, he's very good. So I wanted IK to do it. But when I realized, I remember the guy saying, okay, this is Uti. Uti has a messy, his own, but his own, life and everything is so messy. He has a messy things going on for him and all of that. So if people are going this way, Uti is going that way. So
his online reputation.
it's controversial. So it's messy. And these women, all of them are all messy. And the whole situation is messy. So who do you bring in? Uti.
Messy.
So I think it's really a good one for them. I think Uti will do justice to it. Yeah, kudos to him. So I really like it. I saw everything going on there. The little clip were okay, I was able to see. Then, on the other hand, but I feel those women need to be, checked. There should be decorum. The organizers need to talk to them. It's not every time you act like Agbero. Why should women be fighting, for crying out loud? And when we see men go physical, not women. How can you want to fight a fellow woman like you? How can, what's her name? Iyabo comes out and like, I threw, what's her name? Chioma away, I flicked her. Like, are you normal? And it doesn't even, she doesn't even feel remorse or she doesn't even see anything wrong with that. She feels like she has done, one great thing. Yes, I'm superwoman. I flicked her. I did this. I did that. It's all like, how can a woman do that? How can a woman do that? What does that? What picture is she painting? How can that kind of a woman even say, okay, I have kids, I'm bringing up my children? Well, I don't think so. She can't build a home. She can't have it. I don't think that's, it's a no-no for me. And the fact that, you know what paid me most? When I saw this thing, I watched it, that Caroline kept saying that she apologized to this Iyabo 3 times. Madam, you know be God now. I apologized to you 3 times, 3 good times. And yet, you are still angry. I mean, what's that? I won't even do that. And what is all this issue of, oh, don't you know Iyabo? All of them are so scared of her. Who is Iyabo, for crying out loud? I don't understand. Why are they scared of her? Why should Caroline even go and apologize 3 times? Firstly, let me tell you, if I have issues with you, and let's say, okay, I did what I'm not supposed to do, I say whatever I'm not supposed to say to you, I'm angry with you, or like she said, that it was transfer aggression. Yeah. And if Iyabo had like taken her back, like what's going on with this? Why would she talk to me like this? And she walk away. And Caroline goes back to apologize to her 3 times. I'll say, oh yeah, she deserves it, and Caroline needs to do more. But if Caroline outburst made her to go physical with Caroline, and Caroline is going back to apologize to her, then Caroline is even stupid. You can't go physical with me. You said you want to beat me. You're even saying it that I wanted to chop her, I wanted to beat her. And you actually wanted to do that. You wanted to beat me, to fight me. Then I'm not going back to apologize. Apologize for what again? Apologize for what? There's no reason to apologize anymore. There is no reason. If I offend Gloria and I say the things she doesn't like, and she just walk away like, man, I can't take this. Let me just leave her. And I will go and apologize. But when Gloria said, oh, Ella, you said this to me today, we are dying. And she takes up something, you want to go physical, you want to kill me. Then I'll not go back and say I want to apologize. For what? No. I don't think it's right. Even on her part, it's not right for her to apologize. And for Chioma to throw her friend, what was she? I don't understand. What was she trying to get? To be in the good books with them? That she comes and like, Chioma, Caroline, you need to apologize. Your apology was, you didn't mean the apology. Well, are you God? Are you in her mind? How did you know? Even if you know that she doesn't mean it, but you can't say it there. Sometimes your intentions might be good. The things you want to do might be good, but at the wrong time. It is no longer, you can't throw your friend like that to the wolves. And there's the first thing I noticed, I think Chioma is the dumbest among them. Do you know why I said it? Chioma on the national television, on their table there, Chioma said, you remember when Toyi said, oh, she invites guys to come. When she was saying people, I think they're expecting people, that guys are coming in. And she was so happy that guys are coming. Chioma has been all over the world, everywhere. She sees guys, she sees people. She was happy. Oh, Toyi is inviting 5 guys. But do you remember what Caroline said to Chioma? She told Chioma, if you need any guy you can get a guy yourself. Not those people try to hook you up with a man. If that girl was sensible, if she has sense, why would she even want to bring herself down low? She has priced herself high. Why would she want to come down that low to like Tony said, okay, I want to hook you. Or Tony want to introduce a guy to me. Are you okay? My dear, are you looking for men everywhere? Men are out there, they will look for you. You don't need anybody to hook you up. Not to talk about people that you know that are not even saying good things about you. People that don't even like you, that are pretending. People that are showing that is jealous of you in all angles. You are not saying he wants to introduce you, he wants to hook you up. The next day you hear it everywhere. So he's hooking you up with everybody. See what she was saying to Caroline, that your boyfriend used to come to my house with you. Guys, I bring guys to the house to sleep. The same thing he will say to Chioma. So Chioma, I expected her to be smart, but she's not. How can you just, drop from 100 to 20 just like that? And you're telling them, Caroline saw it. Caroline is smart. She has experience. She's matured. And she said it. How can you say these women should introduce a man to you? What is wrong with you?
Okay,
and she was happy. Oh, they want to introduce. Oh my God. Can't get from my hand.
I I can imagine your frustration on this. Okay, if you don't mind, I'll have to just pause it for a bit, okay, so that I can allow other people to speak. Okay,
All
but
right,
if
then.
you still stick around. But really, thanks a lot. I mean, I heard that part, and I didn't know how I felt at that point in time, but I just told myself, you know what? Maybe it's just part of the I don't know the thing to make that episode exciting. I did not want to think too much about it. Okay, but let me just forget about it before I start saying what I want to say. Okay, Dupe, you're welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay.
You. The fact I see that you have been in a serious battle with people, in some people in the comment section.
Honestly, the show, I honestly need to know the intent of this Real Housewives of the Lagos, because we've also watched some other Real Housewives of everywhere else. For God's sake, what kind of combination of characters? See, number one thing I saw, I've said it over and again, that these ladies, there's such a mismatch of representation of housewives in Nigeria. Because all of them are just drunk with, they want to fight, they want to be violent. Who does that? You all have children watching you, whatever it is that they say, let it be 18, let it be 15 and 10. Your children, which means if Festus, let me start with this Iyabo that is old, and up till now, she will not drop this violence. I mean, Iyabo and violence is 1 and 2. So it's so shameful. Who brags with I want to choke, I want to break? If Festus or Priscilla does that, what will you say? Go ahead and kill somebody? I mean, when you are even getting old, you drop some madness. She's turned herself to God in that team. All of them are scared of her. Okay, you told Chioma, Caroline, that kind of embarrassing question. That girl did not say, come and be apologizing to me several times. You even almost took offense that she was not happy with the comment about the arm chain or bracelet.
Yeah.
That was honestly in a national television. What do you take her for? You want to tell her that she's a whore or she's changing men? That is, if it is Iyabo they said that to, you will apologize for the next 3 weeks.
Of course.
Why does she think she can always be right? I honestly don't like our kind of character. I've never liked what she portrays. I can be posh, I can be rough, I can be street. You are 100% street. You're not posh at all. Now let me drop that one. Like I said in my comment, the one that embarrasses me most is Chioma. For God's sake, what kind of description is that to your so-called friend once upon a time? I mean, before this chaos, Caroline got to her and said, why are you eating something? I need to pick something from it. Which tells me that whatever has transpired, I think I seem to, I don't have any favorite among them. They all have problems. They all have personality disorders, and they need evaluation. But I tell you, what I feel on Caroline is, even if she's a problem personified, she easily drops the problem. She moves to the next thing, which I think is fair enough. Okay, we had this issue with Trashy, let's move on. It's fair enough. Then Auntie Iyabo, you even got to the Binolia's party, you were still carrying face. Even when this guy was trying to, okay, I've apologized before, you're on the table now, and the guy was saying, oh, I love sexy Iyabo. Man, for God's sake, you don't want to spoil somebody. Just flow along now. And then if you are really a mature person, older than these ladies, you should have called Chioma. That is the trait of an elderly person in a team. Call Chioma now and say, look, you know what? You really offended me. You made me cry and I don't like it. That would have been a more civilized approach for Iyabo. Okay, now you are talking about Mariam. I honestly love Mariam, but she has this subtle way of putting fire into a burning flame. Because they all had chill out in the pool. They came out and they were trying to get themselves dry to the next thing. And it was this Mariam. That comment was not necessary at that point. It's an instigating comment, especially when you know that this group, there's no honesty among you. That you can't fix your problem in a second. You need months to fix the problem that they have all bottled up over the years. It's not even on the show. They are all lying that they didn't know each other. They've bottled up, they've linked, they've taken each other's boyfriend, they've slept with each other's boyfriend. Every nonsense you can think of in this kind of girls, they have done to each other. So pulling them together, I feel, is a time to get back at one another. And that is why you saw Tony and Chioma on that nonsense. And that is why you saw Laura and Caroline on that nonsense also. So what I'm saying is, Mariam's, I think all of us can now be, okay, now, what exactly is that? Somebody said she has apologized 3 times. And we babies, truly and truly. Now, see Tony, is the same spirit that is in Tony that is in Iyabo. Maybe one is fairer than the other. Tony is also a motion girl, street girl, letter. That is what they are fed with. But I think with the kind of exposure that they are, and the kind of show that internationally the world is watching, and you are a brand, for God's sake, the best you can do for yourself is to sustain a brand that people thought you are. And then you are now using beating to brag. Now, let me tell you, people in Chioma's personality, if you have a friend like Chioma, run. That girl is the most dangerous among them. And I like Ella's last comment. They will make her more than mincemeat. You know, see, they will compress her. That group that she went to belong. Oh, Lord. You need to see what Laura was saying to her friend about them. So now she thought she has seen a friend in Laura. I can't see. Do you think you can enter between Tony and maybe Mariam, or even Tony and Iyabo? You are just a floater. That girl has to, I don't want to use a derivative word. That girl has no, she needs to review her reasoning ability. And like somebody said also, she has enjoyed Caroline's protection. That girl is really, you could see even when she was mad, look at her commentary. She was still calm. She was not using anything terrible. Whatever she has said, Chioma started it. Called her bastard, called her this, before that one referred to her family. And then they called your family, you started pushing. Honestly, I want Iyabo to be injured. That is taking back what she did to Chioma. Shebi, tis for tat now. God knows the best. Honestly, I was expecting that act also to have injury because you caused Chioma injury. And I honestly was looking out, that's why I delayed. That's why I delayed my comment. I was looking for an attorney among us, somebody who knows the law to a very great extent. You are the one that caused injury. You are the one that is to pay the penalty. Why are you transferring the penalty to somebody else? That is bullying. That is harassment. That's harassment. You are really harassing that girl. You caused the injury. Fix the problem first. Then later, that one might say, okay, my friend went this extent to me. And I for God's sake, I think I need to apologize to her. You don't force her to it. And then if Chioma is sensible, you saw the way she, Laura and Tony managed their grievances. Laura walked out. Laura broke down in tears. The two of them, they were not trying to wash their linen outside. Those are friends. That is the description of friends. There are some friends that you have, honestly, let the whole world be hearing me. You need to delete them. And I said delete. They are the one that will offend you. They are the one that will be looking for you to apologize. They are the one that will be looking for you to honestly run. They are frenemies, unfriendly friends. That is what Chioma is. And I can't wait to see what comes out after her. After now, I can't wait what happens. I will honestly be very happy if we see the reunion and we see that Tony actually beat her silly. I will laugh. Very well. Now for the reunion, Uti's choice. Uti is a biased soul. Uti, I'm saying Uti is always, but if he has a favorite, he doesn't. Honestly, I don't think, no matter the reason, I don't think it's right to do this justice. I love the choice of Ike. Ike will actually help you to open that hell, and you will laugh and enter the hell if Ike is the one so matured and yet so sensible. Uti is biased. If Uti ordinarily loves Chioma's physical appearance, he's going to tilt. He has done it very well. Let him hear me now. Everybody's hearing me. If that's how he has done it in many BBN shows, and it was just so. When you are attaining some levels, you need to polish the way you identify yourself and not condemning other characters. But well, we'll see what happens next week. It is as if today should be 1st of July. I'm waiting. That slap, you know, see that slap that Tony promised Chioma. I want to see the end of it. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dupe. Thank you so much, Dupe. I mean, when I saw Uti as the selection for the host, oh my god, I almost hit my head on the wall. I'm like, what the hell? This guy, and as you rightly said, he enjoys picking the, should I say, the villain in these shows, and I don't know why. And once he does that, he sticks to that person to the end. Then after the show, he will not come and start writing apology tweets to the other people that he actually bashed. And sometimes I just feel like, why are you using people's pain to create relevance and clout for yourself? Just doesn't really make sense. But as you said, let's wait and see the 1st of July. Let's see how he performs. People like me are always going to care. I will rate him as well. And if he does not perform well, if he brings all those his bias into that job, he's going to get dragged. Anyways, thank you so much, Dupe. And let's quickly move on to Gloria. Gloria, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, you're welcome.
Good evening.
Hi.
And good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear you?
Okay, so I would like to start by saying the podcast. I want to compare the podcast between Chioma and Caroline when they both did theirs. I felt like Chioma came to do her podcast because she felt like people stopped liking her. She was losing fans because when we watched the episode, it was very looking messy. So she was not coming there um to talk about what happened. She was coming to defend herself. She was coming to defend her action so that people can start writing nice things about her again or whatever, because she made that clear to me there. And when she was talking about her podcast, she was trying so hard to paint Caroline as the villain. She was like, you said something offensive to this person. She was trying to be an angel, like a saint. I was trying to make my friend apologize to this woman that I'm also friends with. I'm like, okay, fine. Let's say she offended somebody that you're also close to. She has apologized 3 times. Caroline is not a baby. There's how you can be forcing somebody to apologize or to do something that person will start feeling like, what's your motive? Because I felt like her motive wasn't even clear anymore. It was like, apologize, you hurt her feelings. What did Caroline say to her? From the podcast, she said Iyabo is insensitive, Iyabo is not her mother. She's doing too much. It's like, she didn't call you a bastard. She didn't call you a husband. So like, do you get some insults that you'd be like, okay, why did you say? But she said you're insensitive, and she said that because the fact of when her bracelet got misplaced, you were saying is her current husband or her ex-husband or her current relationship, which is very insensitive. And I can remember from the beginning of this show, I feel like everybody has been coming for Caroline's marriage, from the ex marriage. Everybody, they all wants to get one piece of information of what happened in that marriage. And I'm like, she's not the first person to marry a billionaire. I felt like Iyabo's one was just like the height of it. Like, all of you have in one way or another insinuated things that aren't even true, and you're not in her marriage. So it's like she just lashed out at you. And I feel like Caroline has a thing of not really. I think she doesn't really assess get things quickly. Like, she's someone that has to maybe. She has to calm down, and later on she'll be like, okay, maybe gets the insult or the hidden. She has to process things before she gets them. So, and I think Chioma knows. Because in the argument, if Chioma is really saying she was loyal to Caroline, when they were at the poolside and Iyabo and they were having the conversation, all Chioma was so supposed to do was to keep quiet. It's nothing, just shut up. Let the two people that have the issues talk about it. Because Caroline apologized right there to Iyabo and told her that it was transfer of aggression. So what else was Chioma really wanting? Which one is she felt her apology was not genuine? You're not in her mind. And if she felt the apology was not genuine, it's not in your place to still say so. So like, if you really don't want someone to keep fighting, just keep quiet and move on. But no, you kept pushing, pressing. Like, I took a blow for you, blah, 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 whatever she was ranting. Then I'm like, shut up. And when they're having their diary session, if Chioma was even still a loyal friend as she says she was to Caroline, there was no need for the unnecessary tearing of the necklace, calling her a riffraff, calling her you're eating sushi with fork and knife. It's like, so were you noticing all those things so that when you guys have problem one day, you will now talk it and you'll be like, hey, I have this big thing about you. And if you see Caroline's diary, she was all like, she wasn't really insulting. It was more like she was explaining something. So you could see the difference between both of them's character. And then Chioma saying that she had an issue with everybody because of Caroline is a very big lie. First of all, Toyin likes to fight with people. It's Toyin's personality. Toyin has fought with almost everybody in the industry. She has fought with all her friends. Nobody that's come close to Toyin has not had an issue with her. It's a normal thing. This is how this woman trends. This is how she feeds whatever. She has to fight with you. So her saying that she having a problem with Toyin because of Caroline is wrong, because Toyin has said it plain in the diary session that she's, well, I won't say she's jealous, but she's competitive with Chioma. So it's not a thing of because of Caroline. And then Laura is an insecure person. You in your diary session, you just said it that Laura, I don't know, I think Chioma lives rent-free in Laura's head. It was never about Caroline, it was about both of them personally. Then Mariam, I don't even know what Mariam is, just a child, like she's just a baby. Because if you ask her why do you have an issue with Caroline, she will tell you because she did not shake my hand fully. And I'm like, are you daft? The woman was sick. She had cold that day when you were in Abuja. She was sick. She had cold and catarrh. Do you want someone that has the flu to come and be hugging you and rubbing you? We're not friends. I don't know you. If I'm meeting you for the first time, you don't expect me to be all. You're supposed to, like, you're the one having a friendly interaction with other people. But she didn't come and start looking at you funny or start insulting. She just shook your hand. Not, in fact, everyone should look up why Mariam has an issue with Caroline. For me, she's just following Tiannah, as Dupe says. Anything Tiannah does, she does. I felt they already had a conversation about Caroline before she came into the show, so it was easy for her to do that. Then moving to Iyabo. Iyabo, okay, you and Caroline had an issue, and you're making look as if that is the greatest thing someone has ever done to you. First of all, I can remember in the podcast, Iyabo said that when they were filming Laura and Caroline's issue, when Caroline said that she did not want Tiannah on the show, she did mention that Caroline told her that Tiannah gossiped about Iyabo to Caroline, and showed Caroline messages of what she said. Iyabo said she was not angry at Tiannah, and they still mended things. So, okay, Tiannah, that is your best friend, gossiped about you to Tiannah's so-called worst enemy, and you forgave her. But somebody that calls you insensitive, calls you, say you're doing too much, you're not my mother, is the person that you cannot forgive, that you want to start throwing punches at and saying, like, it's like, are you understanding yourself? You're not, Caroline does not doing anything. She's not your best friend. You guys are not so close. You're just cordial with each other. So you come in, you want to throw punches because she says you're not a mother. Like, I have to see blood before I can calm down. I have anger issues. Like, what are you hearing yourself? Like, what are you saying? Like, she now made a statement of she's older than others. I'm like, then leave the show. Nobody forced you. When you saw that the people that are on the show are younger than you, leave the show, because they're all mothers. Caroline is a mother. So you can't tell her anything of all that rubbish. She's a mother, and moving on, she doesn't want to be mother, to be a child. Like, she already mother to somebody. So if she's saying that, it's like, I mean, I could see that to work. I say, because Iyabo likes doing the whole mother, queen mother, all my children come close to me, and no, I hate that. I hate that energy. I hate that like that. It's like, it's unnecessary. They're not your children. And if Caroline has apologized to you 3 times and you don't accept the apology, then shut up and move on. Like, it's not a thing of you have to do a podcast to start making her paint bad and say that she don't want Tiannah on the show. Okay, we don't know the backstory to that. So it's a thing of hearsay. Everybody's trying to make them, she and Chioma are trying to make themselves good and Caroline bad. So that's why they had to fight with her at the poolside, which is still unnecessary. Then she who again? I'm going to talk about Tony. Tony is a chameleon. We cannot know. Tony can be there today and there tomorrow. So Tony and Caroline's issue is a personal issue. It's not something that originated on the show. So I feel like anybody trying to weigh or use Tony's perspective to judge Caroline's character is very, very wrong. Because when they're fighting, I feel dirty and personal. It's about marriage, about husband. You stole this, you stole that. I'm like, Tiannah, everybody stole your husband. Lengy stole your husband. Caroline stole your husband. Like, please, who even stole your husband at this point? We really even want to know. Because all the fair ladies in the whole world cannot be stealing your husband. Then bleach and be fair. If your husband likes fair women, or leave the marriage in peace and stop stressing us. But everybody cannot always be stealing your husband every time. There's always a man. Okay, Caroline stole your husband. Since 2009, do you know if you hold something in your heart since a decade and how many years ago? 2 decades, you held it in your heart for a show. And I feel like Tiannah has Twitter fingers. She's not someone that can face you and argue, because she had 3 months in live set with Caroline. They didn't argue on the show. We didn't talk about it. Then all of a sudden, Twitter fingers, she start typing all sorts of rubbish. And I'm like, if this really happened, I really had the balls, and you feel like Caroline does not have receipts for her own argument, you have said it on the show, but you did not. So you come and start talking, and Caroline was avoiding her. I could really see it, like she didn't want anything to do with this person, but you kept pushing and pushing. And Tiannah now lied that she never spoke at the back of Caroline to the ladies before they came to the show. Laura said it on the show that what she knows about Caroline is through Tony, what Tony told her. She knew Shantoy had an history. Mariam also said it. So I'm like, you coming to lie is like, what is wrong with you? That's what I'm going to, I think that's pretty much. What I'm going to say is Chioma is not a loyal person. Iyabo is not queen mother. Tiannah is a chameleon. Mariam is just a fool. Laura is, I beg, that one needs to go for, she needs to heal from her past traumas. Like it needs to just move away from these women, and that's it. So thank
You
you.
so much, Gloria. Thank you so much, Gloria. You are just really cracking us up. And I totally agree with what you said. When it comes to Tony and Caroline, we cannot take any of the two ladies' perspective to judge the other person, because their beef did not start from the show. It's an age-old beef, like old whiskey that is very sweet. Their beef is very old. It's nasty, yes. And if there's anything that happens on the show, well, I can say, okay, this is what happened on the show. But to now, nah, it's not going to work, because we, the viewers, will end up shooting ourselves on the legs. So thank you so much, Gloria. So we have those of you that have spoken before. So what we're going to do is we're just going to speak briefly. You know, everybody just share with us your final thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to start with Queen. Okay, so briefly, share your thoughts so that we can go around, everybody can speak, and then we can conclude on time. Okay, so just briefly. Queen, are you there?
Yeah, Gloria, I'm here.
All right. Please fire on.
Glory, mine is a question. You remember that during the podcast, Chioma was trying to debunk the notion that people thought she was a gossip. My question is, why in the production team always allow Chioma to be the one to take lead in having conversations about the other ladies behind their back, especially Chioma and then Iyabo? It was almost always the two of them who were having conversations behind at the other lady's back. And from what Chioma said, it was because the production team asked them to talk about the other ladies. And I want to know if Chioma was really the friend of Caroline. Why wasn't the production team allowing Chioma and Caroline do that? But Chioma and the other Iyabo or Mariam were always the ones doing that. That's my question. I want to know, because it doesn't make sense to me why the production team always made Chioma look like she was the gossip of the season.
Yeah. Queen, thank you so much for that question. That's a spot on question. I heard that part as well, and the same question came to mind. And to be very honest, it did not make sense to me at all, because I was wondering, like, okay, if there's anybody that these two people should be having that conversation, it should be Chioma and Caroline. Why does it always have to be Chioma and Iyabo? Honestly, it did not really make sense to me, and I am hoping that during the reunion, maybe the production team is going to give us an insight to that, right? Maybe they're going to give us an insight to that, because that just wasn't the only part of the whole Chioma instigating or stirring up a conversation to stir the pot. There was also the sip and paint. She also mentioned in that interview that she was not the one that even organized the sip and paint. Production wanted her to start up that conversation. I think that was after the Caroline and Laura's fight, and then Toyin used that opportunity to start lashing out at her about her coming late, her always trying to make a fashion statement, blah blah blah. She also touched up on that, but she was blaming everything on the production team. And to be very honest, it does not make sense to me at all. It does not make sense at all. Yeah, because it's also making me wonder. Okay, is it that they are trying to, you know, still going back to us saying that okay, it could be that there's a personality, there's a perception the production is trying to create about each and every single one of these women. Is it that they're trying to paint Laura as the villain, except for that part? Laura is also using her mouth to say during her confessionals that whatever she's doing it intentionally, right? And then for Toyin is the one that has something to say about everybody behind their back, but never really has something to say in front of those people. And then for Caroline, I mean, look at the end of the show. It's like they were trying to give us the impression that, oh, everybody is picking on Caroline, but at the end of it all, Caroline is actually the villain. So I'm just hoping that during the reunion, maybe they'll give us an insight into that. At least let them help us understand what's been going on behind the scenes. Because to be honest, that thing Chama said, it did not really make sense to me at all. So, Queen, I can't even give you a valid answer to that question. So we just have to wait and see what will unfold during the reunion.
I'm just hoping that the ladies don't turn up on Uti. Uti should be very careful with this reunion. If Uti is not careful, the way when Tony got up and lashed out at Chioma, the way he just shifted in his seat, if he's not careful, it seems that they will come after. If he's not careful with the way he supports the villain, just like you've been saying with the Big Brother Niger production. So he should be very careful. And I'm really looking out. I'm not really expecting much from Uti, honestly, but let's see how it turns out.
Okay. All right, Queen. Thank you so much. Okay, Free, are you there? Hello, Free. Okay, maybe Free is not there. YK, are you there? YK, are you there? Okay, I guess this is it. I guess this is it. But really, thank you all so much. We've actually said a whole lot today, and I really appreciate all of you turning up for this particular conversation. Thank you all so much. I see the comment section bubbling, and for real, it seems as though there are a lot of people that actually have a lot to say, but they are not just coming on the stage to speak. So we're just gonna leave it at that, okay? But final words, guys, is I personally am looking forward to the reunion show. I want to see what's gonna happen, and I'm also having at the back of my mind that the reunion will be edited, just as each episode of the show is edited. So honestly, I am not expecting much. I'm not expecting much so that I do not end up getting disappointed. But one thing I'm really, really curious about is from Chioma and Caroline's perspective, all the drama that happened that particular night when Iyabo and Caroline had their fight, they said camera crew had gone to sleep. There's no video available. There's no video footage. There's no evidence of what actually happened, like visual evidence. So if it now happens that some sort of footage actually finds its way to the reunion show, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a problem, and I personally will have no choice but to jump into the conclusion that production definitely does have an agenda they're trying to drive. Okay, so that's that for that one. And speaking about Iyabo and Caroline's narrative, I will still maintain that it is not the fact. It is not the fact because we were not there and there's no visual evidence to back up all their claims. Yes, that interview that they granted, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. It was a very, very defensive interview. It was an interview engineered for them to come and paint themselves as the victim and the saint. Chioma obviously is scared of Iyabo and is literally not dishing out some level of anger that she should be dishing out to Iyabo. And for me, I feel like that makes her look like a coward, like a weak person. She needs to come off it and have a proper conversation with Iyabo about that. If she wants to do that at the reunion, all well and good. Let us see Chioma coming out in a full element and calling a spade at least. It's not only other people that Chioma is going to yap her mouth. She should also be able to yap her mouth at the said Auntie Iyabo. Yes. And Chioma saying that she never really had issues with Laura. For me, I am hoping that during the reunion show, all those her confessionals that she'll be dragging Laura, they should kindly play it out so that Laura will also see it. But I'm sure the ladies must have watched the show in full, so by now they all know what each and every one of them has actually said about the other person. So that's all, guys. This is where we're going to be ending this particular conversation, this particular YouTube live stream. Once again, thank you all so much for turning up for this conversation. I really appreciate your commitment to join in today's live stream. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you are yet to subscribe. Okay, we drop videos on this channel every single day of the week. Okay, if I did not really drop a lot of videos this week, it's because this girl has been busy trying to get things set up, guys. I don't want to go into details to that, please, but hey, I've been very, very busy trying to get things set up, and I think we're almost at a good place now. Okay, but really, thank you all so much. If you have anything more you want to say, you want to contribute, the comment section of this live stream is going to be open. Just go ahead and share all of that in the comment section below. That said, I will see you guys on another episode of Frankly Speaking with Glory Elijah. Do have an amazing, amazing weekend. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye. Hey, stop right here. Don't go anywhere. You are especially welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Glory Elijah, and this right here is Frankly Speaking with Glory. I am the girl with the tea. I give detailed analysis of reality TV shows like Big Brother Naija, like Nigerian Idols, like The Voice Nigeria. Basically any reality TV show that actually interests you, it automatically becomes my interest as well. I literally carry on my head. I give detailed analysis, I give detailed reviews. I run commentaries also because I want us to have fun. I want us to catch cruise. I want us to, vibe to stuff like that. And reality TV shows are not the only kind of content that I put out on my channel. I also do movie reviews. So you see this Glory Elijah of a girl, she's a very, very boring sport. Guys, for real. I am super, super boring. However, whenever I feel like passing my time, just having my own fun, chilling, being in a zen mode, I catch up on movies, which I find very, very interesting or exciting. But also, guys, I love reviewing those annoying ones because, hey, we have to call them out. You cannot come and waste my data. You cannot come and waste my precious time watching some really annoying movies. And I also talk about trending social topics because, of course, this life has to be balanced, okay? It's not all about entertainment and fun all the time. We also need to talk about those serious issues that concerns me, that also concerns you as well. You're about to have a blast on this channel. I also share my life experiences from time to time. Yes, that is when people ask me to talk about it. But if people don't ask me to talk about it, sometimes I do not feel the need to talk about it. I like keeping my private things private. But once again, you are welcome to my YouTube channel, and as I told you before, you are in the right space. Trust me, you will be so addicted to this channel. People are going to be asking you, what's happening with you? Are you okay? And hey, don't forget to turn on post notification, all right? That is the best way for you to always receive alerts of my videos. So you see what I'm doing on my screen right now, just do exactly that. And